All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mindgasms. I'm going to do another movie chat today with my full regular movie chat crew. Got Scazio, aka Shizan Alamgur. That is Mr. Warcraft Avatar there. And we got Chris, who I talked to the other day on Friday. And we got Dusty, aka Woke Centrist, there with the Wheel of Time sword avatar.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about a deep, super profound movie with a whole lot of deeper meaning to it called Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. And I was actually thinking about it, and there actually are a few deeper themes in this. Like I say in the title there, bravery, friendship, and love. So because like basically I think overall this movie holds up and it's hilarious. And one thing that I noticed is like how many racist and homophobic jokes that I don't see in that many movies or TV shows that much anymore there are. And it's hilarious all the awesome antics they get into, like Neil Patrick Harris stealing Harold's car, and them almost getting
You know what? You know what doesn't hold up well at all?
what.
The Neil Patrick Harris being straight.
Well, yeah, didn't you see Harold and Kumar 3? In Harold and Kumar
I
3,
haven't seen any of the other ones, so
oh,
I
okay.
don't
In,
know.
in Harold and Kumar 3, this isn't really a big deal, but spoiler for Harold and Kumar 3, he says because he actually well, I guess I won't reveal that, but he I but one thing that he does reveal in Harold and Kumar 3 is that no, I'm not actually gay. I'm pretending to be gay because that gets you tons of pussy. You think Clay Aiken is gay, man? No, he's totally straight. Yeah. So I think that, like I was saying, I think they get into a lot of hilarious antics, some of which are totally unrealistic. Like one of my favorite ones of those is when they're riding that escaped cheetah from the zoo and getting high with it. and when they steal that car and are getting chased by the cops near the end, and then they hang glide to the White Castle that they've finally gotten to. And yeah, like I was about to say
He
earlier.
goes on a speech, right? Before he goes on the hand glider, like,
Oh yeah,
oh
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. He goes on that.
it's like the American dream.
Yeah, he goes in that whole speech, and then right before they jump off the cliff, Harold, guess what? I've never hang glided before. and and yeah, well, like when they almost get into that foursome with that I forget what his fucking name is, but that ugly and creepy but friendly guy who offers to fix their car for him, and
Oh,
then
freak show.
yeah, freak show, and then I'll fix your car. You could go in there, make yourself at home, fuck my wife, and then but like I was saying though, I think there are like a few like deeper themes too, like bravery, friendship, and love. And that bravery, Harold has to be brave enough to stand up to his coworkers who are dumping their work on him. And in terms of friendship, they're always annoying each other, particularly. Oh, Dusty got kicked out. Hopefully, he'll be back there in a sec. And even though they annoy each other a lot, and particularly Kumar annoys Harold a lot, it's their loyalty to each other as friends that gets them out of a lot of tough situations, because they make sacrifices for each other. And then also love and bravery, because Harold has to be brave enough to finally ask out Mia, that chick who lives in his building, who he has a crush on, but has never even talked to. And then also Harold has to have this spiritual experience of them finally getting to the White Castle to get the bravery to decide to go to med school after all, instead of continuing to be a slacker. And then that reminds me of that part when Ryan Reynolds is there and Kumar does that surgery, which is funny too. But yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah, that surgery was totally random. They were like looking for weed or something, right?
yeah,
They're
yeah.
looking for weed in the
That's
hospital.
basically like the whole movie. We're gonna go to White Castle, but get sidetracked all night long.
Yeah, they just keep meeting a series of like the strangest characters, like strangest people in town.
Yeah, yeah,
The guy,
definitely.
the guy that likes to bush on, pee on the same bush. That
Jamie
I
Kennedy.
don't know.
Yeah,
It's just one among many.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
it's almost like
He
a
gets
series.
real serious about it.
yeah,
It's almost like a series of like SNL skits in a way, right? Like they have like a point and an end. Obviously, the end is to make it to White Castle, but then there's a this scene with Freak Show, and like it's almost like let's write some of these. Like they had a bunch of funny ideas and then they kind of wrote it into the movie. You know, like the two girls taking
Yeah.
the taco shits and they're stuck in the stall with them.
yeah. That's
Um,
This
the
sounds
part
like
too.
battleship.
Yeah,
Or like the only reason the cheetah thing is not totally random is because earlier on in the movie there's a news segment where we find out that the cheetah escaped from the zoo, but it's still like the most cartoonish and unrealistic part of the movie when they're riding the cheetah and then they get high with it.
Oh yeah.
my favorite scene in the movie is when he finds the big bag of weed at the police, but then it cuts to another thing and it's like him in the bag
Oh yeah.
in the field, and then they get married later on, and he's like all like, bitch, you.
He sees that dream through to the bitter end, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hilarious part too. I think if I had to choose, I'd say my favorite parts were all the Neil Patrick Harris parts because the version of himself that he plays in these movies are my favorite role of his.
I remember the commercial was really funny because I was really high for that part, and they in the commercial it goes, "Don't smoke weed, kids," and then one of the kids takes a hit, and then he takes a shotgun, and like, "I'm high, nothing can happen to me," and then he just shoots himself.
Yeah,
Like,
and they
what?
laugh, and they just laugh at that because it's so hilarious.
I'm like, what just happened?
You know what's funny about that scene is they're making fun of like that stereotypical, totally cliche, like high commercial, like Dare or Mothers Against Drugs or whatever like that. But yet, the movie in a way is totally like cliche with weed, right? Like there's so many times they get like super stoned, and it's like I smoke weed all the time, and I'm like I've never, hopping on a cheetah through a forest or
Yeah,
Yeah, it
exactly.
looks like they're on DMT or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, they're on some higher level, higher planes with those drugs. Like, yeah, he sounds like Joe Rogan talking about
yeah.
some of his experience.
Yeah,
You wouldn't
exactly.
believe what happened.
Yeah.
Just the experience.
And they're like so high that they don't see the cop car, and he goes to step on the street and he gets jaywalked. Like, where the hell did this cop car come from?
Yeah. Oh, that whole part with them getting arrested and escaping from jail is funny too, and where they meet that guy who was in jail for being black, and that speech when he gives Harold when he first meets him too. He's like, I'm fat, I'm black, and I've got 2 gay fathers, and I can't dance. I've never had it easy in this life. But I think everything ends up the right way in the end. Plus, I've got a really large penis, so that makes me happy.
Yeah,
And the cops keep beelining towards that guy. Like, they just miss everyone else.
Yeah.
Everything else that's happening. It's just, oh my god, look at that threat.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. And you know what? That, to be honest, that's kind of scene wouldn't fly. You wouldn't see an ongoing theme with these movie conversations is like they wouldn't be able to make that movie today. And I think like that plus all the homophobic kind of jokes and
Yeah, there are lots of gay jokes.
yeah, and like I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they couldn't be able to pull off today.
Yeah, it
I like
definitely feels a little alien. Like it's been a while since that movie's been out because the landscapes kind of changed,
yeah,
and you feel all the jokes, especially the racial jokes that they keep making. It's like, okay,
yeah.
that's
And I
the
think,
fourth time or something.
and it's funny too because I think this is meant to be, like, obviously this is a movie about an Asian and an Indian stoner. It's not two white guy stoners. So like, I mean, I don't know the filmmaker's intentions, of course, but I mean, the point of jokes is obviously to laugh at people, laugh at the idea of actually taking those thoughts seriously with like homophobic and racist jokes, and like racist jokes in a movie about people who are not white. Like that's a whole kind of minor part of the theme of the movie, their race, really, but they don't make it like all like central to the plot of the movie. Like they're not woke about it at all.
Yeah. Do you think like some of those jokes can be made this right now?
I think probably some of them could, but probably not all of them. Like
It's also
Depends.
like bringing attention to something like it could be considered woke. Some of them, right?
yeah, I guess like maybe
They would
that.
get a clap in Hollywood and stuff.
I think it depends. I think they
Yeah.
could get away with making those jokes today, but like somebody like myself probably wouldn't, or you know what I mean? Like,
Or like
Yeah.
the white people in the movie might be less able to get away with it. Like that white racist cop who makes fun of Kumar's name. Like, what's they got? Like 5 O's or 6 U's? No, it's got 1 U, dude.
Why don't you have something more American sounding?
Yeah, his name's Harold. This Asian guy.
Also, they meet like two people that look just like them, right? On the randomly, hey, those two
Yeah.
folks look just like us, and then like group of folks just show up.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
bats
that's
and,
funny.
beat on them.
It's
Was-
funny too when those because this happens like just before and later on too. Those like extreme guys who are like always randomly happen to be where they are, and they're bullying them, and they steal their car at one point, and then when they do, they they turn on their extreme mix, and they're like, well, they're total posers because they're just listening to like this cheesy 80s
Oh
music,
yeah,
like
they're
love
listening to a lot
ballads.
of love songs, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wilson Phillips, with the whole
Yeah.
somebody gonna make you run and say goodbye.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, what do you guys think about those Neil Patrick Harris parts though? Because I think those are hilarious. Because like
Was he
I
on a
always
self-driving car or something? Was that like a prediction to a self-driving car? Because one part he's like the car's just moving and they're just on it. And no one's on the wheel.
Yeah,
And, like,
yeah.
he's just snorting coke off hookers or something.
Yeah, he snorts coke off a hooker's ass, and he's like, they're like, he and 2 hookers are hanging out of the sunroof. So I don't know. I guess we're supposed to assume that someone's driving the car. I don't know. Yeah, I always love it too when actors play themselves, but they play like stereotypical asshole Hollywood terrible people versions of themselves. That I always find that hilarious.
Yeah, I like it when they make.
Yeah, I
fun
was wondering if
themselves.
there's any truth to the Neil Patrick Harris meme
Yeah.
right there. It's like an industry joke that he likes to party or something.
I'm really like, it could be that he likes to party, but obviously he's gay, so he's not like banging chicks all the time or anything like that.
Mhm. Yeah, he's
And-
it's I think like another theme to go with the movie is just cameos in general. Like there's Neil Patrick Harris, but like you mentioned earlier, Ryan Reynolds makes an appearance, Jamie Kennedy makes an appearance with the peen beside him.
Oh yeah.
Man, there's some other people in it too. I just watched it yesterday, but yeah, it's almost like It's almost like they sent out a memo like, any comedians want to be a part of this movie, let me know. And
Bobby Lee was in it, right?
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he's part of the East Asian Studies group.
oh yeah,
One of the nerds keep asking
yeah.
him, "So, are you like an investment banker?" It's like, "Yeah." Like, "Yay, cool! I told you he's good."
Yeah,
This is Bob.
that whole group of I forget that girl's name who likes Harold. Someone Kim, right? What's her
Cindy?
Cindy, yeah. That whole group that she was with was funny, and that whole sequence that we were talking about earlier when they're at that university and they obviously seem like the lamest people ever, and then Harold and Kumar walk past their party that they missed out on, and they're like smoking weed and doing all sorts of other drugs, and that guy who is sucking up to Harold is like partying with his shirt off and shit like that.
They made it sound like it's gonna be a boring party, right? They made it sound like, "Oh, his mom got kimchi, so that's what's going on."
Yeah, we're
That's
gonna
what they
have
made it
some
sound.
kimchi. It's gonna get off the chain, bro.
Yeah, that's what they made it sound like. But
Yeah.
apparently, having kimchi goes a lot differently with at
Yeah,
Princeton.
exactly. Yeah, and that part, like everything to do with those hot twins that Kumar was like set to hook up with, like that totally stereotypical stoner like pot dealer guy who we see at the police station earlier, and his mom is there picking him up at jail and scolding him and stuff like that, and the two twins are super hot and they're gonna have sex, and then I forget how Harold and Kumar are getting chased by they're getting chased by a security guard because they get caught smoking a joint, right? And then they hide in the women's bathroom, and then they play battle shits. That's the most like juvenile part of the entire movie.
Yeah, there's a part when the security guards are chasing them and they find them at the Asian party, and the girls are showing their tits. So at that time they make a run for it because the cops are staring at the tits.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
it's like a decoy.
Yeah, exactly.
it's funny. It got a 74 rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh wow.
It's a lot higher than I thought it would get. Like, it's a good movie, but I don't like. It's not like ground. Like, it has funny parts, but I'm just like, there's some parts that I'm just like, okay, that's just silliness. You know what I mean?
I laugh at the silliness parts because they're dumb sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. But it's like
it's definitely like a dumb funny, like so dumb that it's funny.
Mm-hmm. And the editing of the movie is really bad. I don't know if you guys noticed, but at the end of the movie, they're like in the middle of the night. It's like pitch black with that stolen Jeep that they took from the Extreme guys. They're on the cliff, and then the next scene goes over and it's daylight and the cops are still after them, and then they're going off the cliff. Like, it totally doesn't make any logical sense.
That's
like
a good point.
With the cop chasing you for 4 hours straight, and then the sun rose in the meantime. Like, it's like, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, I think that was just like that. I didn't really notice that before until you mentioned that, but that's a really good point. That was probably just way too convenient timing, I bet. Maybe
when they're putting together the glider.
Yeah, the glider at the end, right? Like, it's on the top of the car. They're in pitch black because they're driving away from the cops. And then they put together the glider and they go to jump off, and then it's fucking daytime. It's like, okay.
There's a time lapse, and the cop suddenly just comes out.
Just suddenly appear out of nowhere. Like, what was the cop doing? Like, circling around the area for hours and hours on end trying to find these? Like, it doesn't make any sense, right?
Well, there's a lot of the movie that doesn't make sense.
Oh, 100% for sure.
Yeah, like the raccoon.
That wasn't intentional, though. I think they just got, like, I don't know, maybe lazy at the end, or they just like, okay, we're here already, and the sun's rising, so let's just fucking go with it. I don't know.
Yeah, it is like I like how they set set up finally getting to White Castle is like the fulfillment of this deep spiritual journey, and there's nothing quite the same as a man who gets exactly the meal he was craving that hits the spot. I think that's it. That's one thing I noticed this time, because definitely, like, when I watched it before, I was not a stoner and hadn't smoked weed. So watching it when you are a stoner, like, it gave me a whole other level of appreciation for that particular idea, because when you get super stoned and then have a delicious meal, it's like 10 times more amazing than it is when you're sober.
Oh, for sure. How much did you like? I don't know about you guys, but once they hit the actual White Castle and he orders like whatever 12 sliders and fucking 4 Cokes or
30. It was like 30, dude.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous amount of food, but they're eating those sliders, and I'm like, man, I could really go for White Castle right now. Like, in a way, it's like such a great long commercial for a White Castle.
It really is. Like, their inspiration for the movie, a commercial for White Castle.
Yeah, I wonder if White Castle, had like kind of like did they donate any money towards the budget of this film? Do you know what I mean? Like, or did they get a discount? Or I wonder what White Castle's involvement was as far as like the contract for. Obviously, they let them use the name, and awesome for White Castle because that's just free advertising.
Yeah, it's just great marketing for White Castle.
Yeah, it could have been Burger King, it could have been McDonald's, it could have been.
I bet they probably pitched to like different fast food places to see who would bite, and maybe like, hey, let's get our name in there.
But I think it would have to be kind of like White Castle. If it was McDonald's, you can find those on every corner, though, right? So it couldn't be McDonald's. Maybe it would have to be like a chain like White Castle, where there's a lot of restaurants, but there's like these guys go searching forever to find a fucking
right. Like they want to go to this specific place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's any White Castles in my state. I think they're all.
I don't think I've ever been to a White Castle. I've never been.
Yeah, me neither. But I've seen them in the store, like frozen White Castle burgers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could buy like their sliders in most convenience stores.
I think what's special about them is that they're steamed or something, right? Because their patties are steamed.
Yeah, like I've had frozen mini burgers before. They're not that good, but I don't really eat frozen foods like that anymore. But I like a full size burger anyway. But I would try a White Castle if there were. I'm not sure whether I've ever even seen one before. I bet I probably have. I just don't remember.
There's one like an hour from my house. That's across the border, unfortunately, but we've had it before. And I thought that like the stick for White Castle is the mini burger, I think, right?
I do like that idea.
And they have the rigid fries too, which is kind of rare. Not a lot of restaurants, they do.
What's that mean?
They have like the rigid, like the waviness to them. McDonald's has the straight fries. There's no, it's just like and the thin. They're thin. Some have the thick ones, like Harvey's or whatever, like that. But
Chick-fil-A has some like the curly ones as well.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I got Chick-fil-A nearby. I don't have White Castle, but the food is too good to be woke about it.
It's actually not really, not to like.
Oh, you mean
shit on White Castle,
like the gay stuff?
Yeah.
What about the gay stuff, Dusty?
Chick-fil-A doesn't like gay people or something.
Oh, right. Yeah. I forgot.
It's like
they don't like gay
Christian
people.
company.
Or?
What was it exactly?
Well,
that
it's like
happened with that?
it's super Christian, and they're not open on Sunday. And I think there was some type of law in California where they were trying to stop gay marriage, and it was found that the owners of Chick-fil-A had contributed to, like, financially contributed to some type of fund or campaign to stop gay marriage in California, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Okay.
I didn't know that was that hardcore.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons why. I don't know. It has to be more than 5 years ago that there was a big fuss over Chick-fil-A being anti-gay. It was certainly had to do with that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what to think about that. I mean,
So I still eat
hardly,
there.
I hardly ever go. I hardly ever
I've been
go
in
to
there
fast food.
recently.
I hardly ever go to fast food places anyway, and I often prefer getting like some of the limited all day breakfast options instead because I love breakfast food.
Yeah, there's no Chick-fil-A in Canada. It's like Popeyes, and that's it. So.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've ever been
Popeyes
to a
and that's it.
Popeyes either.
Well,
And
everyone's
KFC
trying
too.
to
Popeyes is pretty good, the chicken burger.
Yeah.
Well, what I do know is that everyone is trying to copy the Chick-fil-A sandwiches, someone doing it better. Like I know, like Popeyes does a good imitation Chick-fil-A sandwich. McDonald's now makes an imitation Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Oh,
So a lot of these fast food places are doing like this imitation Chick-fil-A sandwich now, so that you don't have to go to Chick-fil-A if you don't want to. Specifically, if you want to get that sandwich.
there are places that have like so many. Oh, Dusty got kicked out again. Oh wait, no, that wasn't Dusty. That was Chris. That's Chris. Oh, okay. Hopefully he'll be back in a minute. Then.
Yeah, I didn't get kicked out. I just had to take a super important call. That's why I was
okay.
out for a little while.
Oh, okay. Shit. What was I saying? I am too stoned for this shit.
So did any of you guys check out Katie Holmes' tits after watching this movie?
No. Did they mention them? I must have.
You didn't remember, dude. You didn't remember that part. That was when they went over to their Jewish friend's apartment and they were watching The Gift on TV because apparently Katie Holmes shows her tits in that movie. So they wanted to get baked, order in food, and watch The Gift so they could see Katie Holmes' tits.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I didn't look them up.
I didn't either.
Later down the road, they.
I think I might have seen that movie though, so I probably did see them at some point.
Oh yeah, I had to Google them. Like, why did those guys not join that venture? Just stay behind for. Must be some nice tits. But yeah, later those guys have like a craving for Munchies as well, and they end up getting their hot dogs, right? And then Harold watches them have that, and he gets inspired. Like, that's exactly what I want.
Their religious, spiritual moment of bonding in their friendship through eating delicious food is what Harold and Kumar want. This is ultimately really just a religious film.
Yeah, this is Shipwreck and the Jewish guy.
Yeah, this is Shipwreck's favorite role of mine. I think I like it even more than his role in American Pie.
Well, I thought his role in American Pie was quite stronger.
It's definitely good.
Emphasis on the plot.
That's true. This movie doesn't have that much of a plot, though.
Well, it's just trying to get from A to B with a bunch of crazy stuff happening in between.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like smoking weed with the cheetah and whatnot.
That's my favorite part of the movie, even though it's the most part of the movie. Well, actually, I said earlier that it was the Neil Patrick Harris parts. I think it's actually a toss-up between those two.
Well, one of the questions I had, because you said there's a lot of racist jokes, and if there were, they just kind of flew over my head. Which ones did you notice?
Well, like there were some, for example, that racist cop was making who arrested Harold for, I forget how exactly it worked out, but he originally tried to arrest Harold for jaywalking, and he and Kumar both ended up in jail because Harold accidentally punched him because it was
the scene with the guy in the jail. Did you see that?
Yeah, that part too. Well, that wasn't racist jokes though. That with that guy, that was like, like explicitly, he got arrested for being black, and he has, like I was saying before, he talked about how he has a hard life, but he also has a big penis, so it's okay. And things also end up well in the end, apparently, and they do at the end of the movie, because that's the whole point of this movie. If in the movie Harold and Kumar go to White Castle, they do not get to White Castle. That would suck.
Yeah, also, what do you guys think about the cops chasing them, and then when they find their car, the one they stole from the skaters, and they find weed in it, and the cops say, "Hey, that's good. We can lock the skaters up for a month." I thought they were chasing them because Harold and Kumar stole the car, but apparently they were looking for the skaters.
Yeah, no, don't they, like, when that cop first starts chasing Harold and Kumar, doesn't the cop say something about how, wait, when is it exactly? But at some point, we find out that those guys are wanted for murder or some pretty serious shit like that, I thought.
Oh, is it?
I thought
I missed
so.
that part.
Do you remember that part? Either of you guys?
I don't think it was murder, but they tear up that guy's. Remember they do the kayaking through the aisles and that.
Yeah,
yeah.
They do all sorts of destructive shit like that for sure.
Yeah, so I thought the cops were after them for that. But yeah, I didn't think they were.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure that I'm remembering that correctly anyway, but I don't know. Either way, the cops were after them for legitimate reasons, and Harold and Kumar got blamed for it because they stole their car. But they also had stolen weed with them too. So I was surprised that they had left the weed in the car. Like I thought Kumar would have found some way to like be able to take it with them. Like he would have done everything to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. It's not even that old of a film. Like they have to go to the nearby, like they're looking for weed, and they go to the or the university to try to find it. He finds that guy that we were talking about earlier, whose mom bails him out. But like these days, I would just like go on an app on my phone and buy weed. You know what I mean? It's not even that old of a film, and yet, you know what I mean. We've moved.
We have it pretty fucking great here in Canada. Like
yeah, for sure. But I can remember having dealers and that kind of stuff, and having to go meet up with them, and they were always kind of weird.
Too.
They were weird dudes like that.
Go and meet someone in their car who parks outside.
Always like super overcharging you for a stupid 10
and
5 grams or whatever.
Eventually, at first when weed was federally legalized in Canada, the weed at the government dispensaries was more expensive than the stuff you could get in like legal gray areas or just like legally online. And then gradually, with it becoming legalized, the price went down to the point that the dispensaries have just as cheap of prices as it is to get it online. So that's the best way to get it. That was the best way to do it, I think.
Oh, yeah.
They just deliver it when you order it online.
Yep. Or
you can get it delivered, or you can go and pick it up like you're going to the liquor store or something like that. Except in my experience, at least, you just tell them what you want instead of like picking it up yourself like you would at a liquor store.
Yeah, where I am, there's a dispensary pretty much on every corner, like a coffee shop now. Actually, there's too many of them. Like I see them go out of business, unfortunately. And it's
that's too bad.
It is too bad because it's a bitch to get your license. You have to go through a whole bunch of hula hoops and double dutch before they give it to you. And then there's there's so much competition now.
Like where I live before before there were all the dispensaries that there are now, I think there are maybe like a handful or maybe half a dozen or so throughout the entire town. But at first, when weed was first federally legalized, my mayor decided to, because he's also a lawyer, decided to do all this fucking legal bullshit to prevent people who already had licenses to open these businesses to be able to do so. And he just delayed the basically inevitable anyway, that there were going to be like weed dispensaries, and they're probably going to be about as popular as liquor stores are, because there are just as many stoners in society as there are people who enjoy alcohol.
Yeah, they rushed it out pretty quick, and obviously any government wants to take their cut and portion as much as they can, right? So it was kind of like, wait a minute, either you're gonna we're gonna make it through tax money, or we're gonna charge you, $500, $1,000 a year, whatever it is, to have your license to be able to distribute it or whatever like that, right? So yeah.
Yeah, where I live in California, they tax it really heavily. I remember before it was legal, it was cheaper on the streets to get it. And then once it became legal, the price went up like almost doubled. But I think they've been competing, and the price kind of came down a bit. So now it's like 1.5 times what it would have been before it was legal.
Yeah, that
But
sounds
it's a bit more
similar.
expensive. But it's so much better because I don't have to worry about cops or anything like that. Just go to the dispensary.
Yeah,
I'll take the
exactly.
trade.
Like when you can get it legally, you don't have to be like, hey, stoner bro, where do you get your weed from? Oh, I know this guy who knows a guy. Oh, okay. So can you talk to this guy, or can I talk to this guy who you know, who is known by a guy who you know?
Yeah,
Even worse is when they become like a middleman. Like, I know where to get it, so yeah. But it's gonna be a bit more expensive.
Or no, the worst is when they both like run out or they don't have any. You have to like message them and like, oh, I don't have any, man. And then you have to go to like,
Oh, that's never happened to me before.
Well, it doesn't happen to me anymore, thank God. But like, man, I remember going on to some journeys and some shady spots to buy.
Really?
To buy weed, yeah. And you know what?
You had your own little cool White Castle moments.
Yeah, not so much like where I am, but I can remember going on vacations, like when, you know what I mean, like, and just showing up and being like, shit. I never carried any on the plane, so it'd be like wherever I was going, whether it be like Florida, Disney World, or like that. It was like try to find weed or whatever. It's like
yeah. It's so much better,
and easier now.
It's so much better, and it makes so much sense for everyone, really, to just like, be able to go to a place and look, I can get weed here too. That sounds good. Why shouldn't you be able to do that?
Yeah. Also, it's quality controlled now. So
exactly, yeah.
But the weed used to be a lot more potent, though. Not gonna lie.
You think so?
Yeah, back in 2012 or something. Yeah, I feel like it was crazy. Or my tolerance was low. I don't know. It's been a while I've been smoking.
Oh, okay. I don't remember when I started smoking weed exactly, but I think it was definitely sometime after 2012. It was probably.
Is it more potent than the Stars of Death?
Is what?
He said it's not as potent anymore.
Oh, okay. Stars of Death?
What's the Stars of Death?
The edibles that freaking Joey Diaz would eat.
Oh yeah, they're like, what? I forget. Did he say like how strong those are somewhere, or did Joe Rogan say? Was it like over 200 milligrams in one of those or something like that?
Yeah, it was just ridiculously strong.
If I remember correctly, and it was something like over 200 milligrams in each of those edibles, like I could take a 200 milligram edible one of them and be pretty fucking sufficiently barbecued if I were wanting to get baked from edibles. If I took 2 and had 400 milligrams, I think I could probably handle it, but like only because I'm used to being super baked. Like, it would be, I can understand how you would freak out, especially if you're
edibles are not for me.
like, and some people have
Yeah, I
a
can't
really
do it
low tolerance for edibles too. Like they're way more fucking potent than smoking it.
I smoke weed every day and I can't do edibles. It's weird. If I have an edible, I want to go in the corner and cry.
It's very intense.
Yeah, I don't know what. It's weird, but like I can smoke.
It's more like edibles are closer to a psychedelic than smoking it is by a lot, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, maybe.
I feel that way. I feel like I have minor hallucinations when I have edibles, but I never have that when I smoke. Very rarely. Also, I'm very high.
Yeah.
But what do you guys care about all the strains and everything? Like before weed got legal, like it was just whatever strain your dealer had, right?
I just like I just honestly, even now that it's legal, like I just basically do what I did before. Like these are the sativas we have, these are the indicas. I like to alternate between both sativas and indicas. I don't think there's actually an enormous difference, but and maybe it's placebo effect, but I usually use sativa during the day and indica at night because, you know, there's that stereotype that seems to at least partially be true for me that sativa like is a little more energizing and more of a body high, and indica is like a little bit more relaxing and a little bit more of a head high. Well, I don't know. Do you guys agree with that? What do you think of that?
No, 100%. I think you nailed it when you don't really notice the difference. I don't really. Then again, I've been smoking weed for a very long time, but I can notice a little bit of a difference, but it's not like, you know what I mean? It's not like black and white difference. It's like more of a gray area.
Yeah.
But,
it's definitely hard to tell the differences.
But I have both too. Like I have a sativa and indica, but that's it. Like that's as far as I go. I don't really like all.
I don't need like this fancy, like what was it that I forget who it was, but Joe Rogan was saying something about one of his like super stoner friends. Like, you know, the next thing that every time I see him, he'll say, "Dude, did you hear about this new strain that allows you to fucking see through walls?"
Yeah.
Hook me up with that. But yeah,
some companies are definitely like pushing the potency thing with their joints. Some of the like the pre-rolls they sell, it's like really, really heavy on THC.
I think I'm not sure, but I think it might be the case with the way it is here in Canada that you might, like, you can't have the THC above a certain percentage because it's a regulated market. But I don't know. I'm just guessing that because they're government dispensaries. But I mean, in terms of that, like I've noticed that the weed you buy at the dispensaries, it's definitely sufficiently potent for me. I wouldn't say it's like enormously high in THC though.
But to get what you paid for market, I know on where I order from, you can get really like super potent stuff.
You can certainly get super potent edibles anywhere, and you can get like a whole bunch of different.
They would have like
edibles.
joints. So they would have like joints with like quiche in them, and then hash in them, and like
pre-rolled ones.
Yeah, and like crystal
wow.
THC on them. Yeah, they have some of these like pre-rolled joints that they sell in California. They're like super. They're like super.
Holy
nuts.
shit, man!
Yeah.
The website I use like has like you can get shatter, you can get any kind of CBD. You can buy edibles there, chocolate, gummies.
Yeah, it
they
was
even
the
had
same
like
with
different colas you can drink that had CBD or THC in them.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah, it was the same with the websites that I ordered it from too. Yeah.
I will say this: CBD gummies are the bomb. I don't know if you guys use those at all. I do.
No,
If
I've
you're
only
like,
had the magic gummies.
you should try it.
Have you had good experiences from CBD only stuff?
I kind of do, but then again, it could be. I'm not gonna lie. I'm open to being a placebo effect on myself. You know what I mean? Like I'm popping these things and being because it's supposed to help with muscle inflammation. Which Andrew, you might want to try, man, since you're like lifting weights and that kind of stuff. If you're ever feeling sore or if you have kind of tight muscles or whatever. But I don't know. After if it depends. I take I've gotten really really potent CBD stuff before, and it does make you feel kind of like I don't know if you have anxiety or anything like that. It does make you feel kind of like it's a good body buzz and a good chill, good baseline, I would say. But yeah, again, I'm open to it, just being a placebo effect on me. I smoke too, so it's hard to tell sometimes if it's that or you know what I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the oh yeah, that reminds me actually like that was an interesting thing that I learned too, that one of those stereotypes, which isn't surprising, was wrong about how like because I have epilepsy. I was looking up whether that has any impact on like what sort of strain you can get, like based on the CBD versus THC percentage. And I thought it was going to be. I just assumed, didn't even look this up, and at first was ordering weed with higher CBD percentage because I just assumed that would be better. But then I looked it up, and it turns out that it's actually the opposite. Like weed with higher THC and lower CBD levels is actually better for someone with like the type of brain disorder that I have, like epilepsy, which I thought was surprising.
Interesting. I wonder why that is.
Yeah.
Also, the ones with higher CBDs are usually the indicas, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for you, sativas are better or something.
But I like I said, I still alternate between both. I use sativa in the day and indica at night.
Yeah.
And I don't like get any bad effects from either of them.
Yeah, I do the same. And then the only other alternative I have is, like I said, CBD gummies. So like sativa, indica, and then CBD gummies.
Right.
I just go whatever batch. So I just buy a batch. So if it's indica, it's indica. The whole batch is indica. If it's and then we just go from there.
And then of course heroin too.
Weed and coffee are the only drugs I know much about.
And some pills,
I've had some trouble with pain pills.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like opium pills. So it was actually for my brother because he had some kind of pain problem. He was taking therapy for cancer, chemotherapy. So he was taking pain pills. So I was trying some of them on the side. So he stopped needing them as much. So I was taking some of them on the side and I got hooked. I was taking them to sleep and experiment and stuff. I was also listening to that guy, the Colombian professor, that's like, hey, I do opium for recreational.
Yeah.
So I was like, I could probably have some fun with that, do it recreation. But for me, I was like, I could definitely feel a physical dependency. So I would need like more to sleep or more to feel better. So it was like, okay, I need to stop. I would stop immediately. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, it's good.
Yeah. What was the benefit? Because
can't stop.
Yeah, I didn't go too deep with it. So once I felt like, okay.
Go ahead, Dusty.
No, I was going to ask, like, what was the benefit that it got from taking the opiate pills? Because I had to take some for a surgery, and the only thing it really did was make me like numb and sleepy. Like it didn't really. I wasn't like, oh wow, this is an awesome experience. So it's just to me like, oh okay, it just
Well,
kind of makes me weird.
well, Shizan,
Yeah.
did you say that you like developed a tolerance to it to the point that you needed it to sleep, like you couldn't sleep without it?
Yeah, I would have trouble sleeping with it. So I was first taking it to sleep better, and I was also I would enjoy it a bit more than Dusty. So it wasn't just for me. It wasn't just I was feeling sleepy. I would feel more relaxed in my body, and my body would feel good. I don't know how to explain it. Just a feel
Okay.
good feeling on my body. So I was getting hooked to that, and I was taking it. Took it for like a week, and then after that, I was like, it wasn't doing the same trick. It felt like half the effect. I was feeling half the effect after like a week, or like even 5 days into it. So I
Okay.
was like,
Oh
instead
wow.
of upping the dose, I thought, okay, I just need to lay it off. So I kind of felt like a withdrawal, a low withdrawal symptoms. Like I had some stomach ache, a
Oh
little
wow.
headache, but yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I can see how people can get super fucking addicted to that shit and take it all the time, man. It's good that you caught yourself so quickly with that. The like I never get that feeling from weed really. Like sometimes I'm like I'm going to smoke more weed now, but I don't just like then start smoking weed all the time and just like constantly am smoking or anything like that.
I wasn't taking it all the time. I would take it like for having fun at night, but then just my tolerance got high, so I got scared.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just taking it because the only time because I had gone to certain like abdominal surgery, and it wasn't that I was like in a lot of pain. It just like I couldn't get comfortable enough to sleep at night. So I took it a couple times. Only other times because I still have like 2 bottles of Percocets in my in my medicine cabinet. I think the other time I took it, I was having it was more to do with sleep. I had like a sore arm. I forgot what I was doing, but I took it before I went to sleep. And then a couple other times I was having some tooth pain. I was like, damn it, I can't get to sleep. Let me take like 2 Percocets and get this crap over with. It's usually always has something to do with me not being able to sleep and having some type of pain.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, that's fair. It doesn't sound like you have a problem with it.
You didn't have any
No,
trouble quitting it?
no.
Sweet.
That
Like I
can be
only used it when I had pain and I couldn't go to sleep. Like that was, and it had to be pain like severe enough that I couldn't sleep. So it mostly had to do with like at one point I forgot what happened with my arm, but I think it was like some type of carpal tunnel type like repetitive motion injury that I had, and I just couldn't sleep because it was like it hurt. So I popped one of those, and I know the worst of the worst pain to me is tooth pain. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take 3 of these damn Percocets and get some sleep, and hopefully this tooth pain will be gone in the morning. But yeah, it was all pain related. I didn't take any of that stuff recreationally at all.
yeah,
That's good.
people can be totally different that way. Like I think there is uh well and people like Dr. Carl Hart who we mentioned talk about this too. Like there is something to the like addictive personality idea because like I know, like I've had friends who get addicted to drinking or get addicted to weed, and I'm not really there. I like to drink coffee and smoke weed, but I don't like use both of them all day long or feel like I'm falling apart without them or go through withdrawal or anything like that.
Yeah, it's like everything in moderation. You know what I mean? Because anything could be like you could be addicted to sugar. You can be addicted to video games. You could be addicted to podcasting. I don't know. There's like so many things to be addicted to, right? So it's like to try to. I think that's the key is to have a good balance of everything and not, you know.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
We got really super deep rabbit hole stonery and then got really profound too. I like that. That's the power of weed.
I took it to a dark place for a bit.
No. I brought it up with heroin, so it's good.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's totally different from different people experience these drugs differently and like have different reactions. I've met a lot of friends who are like functional on. They do everything and they're like super functional still. And I'm always surprised because I get easily hooked on recreational stuff.
Oh, okay. Do you have that problem with weed?
Not with weed. For weed, I feel like as if I don't want to do it at some point, I just can not do it if just with willpower. But like the opium thing, it felt like it takes more than it's like a physical thing. Right. It's also the same with cigarettes. Like I don't know if Chris, you were saying on the last podcast that you quit cigarettes. Yeah, I've quit it before, and it's kind of like cigarettes. It's more like cigarettes. Opiums are like, because it's like a physical thing. You get an urge. You need to get over that hump. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's definitely possible. It's not impossible.
It becomes mental though. A lot of like the no quitting smoking like books or like, you know, kind of things that you can try to quit smoking are all about mental. Getting yourself in a place of mind where you actually want to quit, and then you go through the steps to quit, you know. And as you know, cigarettes is like, it was super tough, and I actually tried to quit smoking like 10 different times. Like probably every non-smoker has tried, you know, you try 100 different times, and then I'm
so who's a former smoker here?
I smoked for a bit and I quit it.
Yeah. I think all three of you guys, other than me, are former smokers.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it was like that.
I went through a
weight was
phase
it for you,
before
Chris?
quitting.
Oh, it's super hard.
Like,
for
was
me,
it easy, difficult?
No, it was super hard. Like I said, you know, most people when they try to quit smoking, I mean, if you do it on the first time, like that's unheard of. You know, most people try it a few times, and I've even heard of people like quit smoking for like 5 years and then go back later on and start smoking again, right? So, super tough. And I'm only like a year and a half, almost 2 years non-smoking, but if somebody lights up a cigarette near me, it's like, hey, that smells amazing.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, but it's like, for me, I had to get to a point where it was like, because for a while there was like I would quit smoking, but I would have like one when I went to a party, or one on New Year's Eve, or one on like, you know, work party or something like that. And then I had to like just like cut the shit with myself and say, all right, listen, if you're gonna quit smoking, it's like you can't touch it at all. So then I told myself I can't even have one at a party. I can't even, you know what I mean, have a drag at all. And then that and an app. Wow. I got an app on my phone that was like, it was like, at first I was like, let's go 5 days no smoking. Okay, did that. Let's go 10 days no smoking. Okay, did that. Wow. Let's go 1 month. Okay, did that. Let's go 3 months. Okay, did that. So it was like I was data driven in a way where I was like trying to meet my goals that way. And then eventually just
don't think about it much anymore.
And now I don't even think about it. I went actually the opposite. It's weird because COVID started and I was like, all right, I'm going to quit smoking and I'm going to start exercising. So in a way, COVID was actually a kind of like,
That
good
was the same with
for
me. COVID pushed me to like quit cigarettes.
Yeah, because at first, like the virus was
cool.
taking out people that were like not healthy, right? You were hearing the
Yeah,
comorbidities. Were
yeah, we were
diabetes.
hearing.
So I was
Yeah,
like,
I know
And
that
it's
the
like
initial
respiratory as
news.
well.
yeah, I was
Yeah,
like,
and I
fuck, I
remember
could be smoking.
Do you remember that the initial news coming out of China was like, oh, it's all older men that were former smokers that are
Yeah.
dying.
Yeah, so I was like, shit, if I'm gonna survive, because I got kids, I was like, fuck, if I'm gonna do this, I gotta like go the complete opposite direction, and I did. So I've been almost like, yeah,
Mhm.
since COVID started, I've been like cycling. I'm up to like over 1,000 kilometers already this year, cycling, and like haven't touched a cigarette in a year and a half now, almost 2 years. So.
Nice, man.
Good.
Nice.
Good for you.
Yeah, now I just gotta get my diet better, you know what I mean, and then I'll be like the trifecta. But
Yeah, that's the crappy
Whoa.
thing about quitting smoking is that your diet tends to get worse
yeah,
Yeah, I've heard that before.
because
Yep.
smoking just makes you not hungry.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know what it
Well,
is
that-
about it.
I wonder if that's the like I wonder how much of that is tobacco and how much of it is nicotine, because nicotine is a stimulant and stimulants tend to suppress your appetite.
Yeah, no, it's
Could
definitely
be, yeah. Could be nicotine for sure.
because you get that little high. Like I remember going like a week without smoking, then I would light up and have that, and it was like
Oh,
almost
yeah.
that I had like a head rush. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it
you'll
was the
get that head
nicotine.
rush.
Yeah, it was the nicotine hitting your neurons that was just
Well, I applaud you guys because it sounds like you guys really like took a very, very cold turkey approach to quitting. I did not. Like I was vaping for like a good 4 years before I quit vaping.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I
And
wait for the past year.
yeah, I'm like I'm also vape free. So I went from smoke free to vaping, and then eventually I went to vape free. So what I did was I gradually kept reducing the nicotine content in my vape juice until it got to 0.
Oh,
So
that's a good
Oh,
idea
so
too.
yeah, eventually, like the last year, it was like when I got to 0, it was like during pandemic time. And I was thinking, I wasn't like thinking of quitting vaping because of the pandemic. I was just like, there was a point in time that when there's no nicotine in the vape, you just don't want to grab it, as
Yeah.
a habit or like an addiction for the nicotine. So eventually I did just quit vaping because I didn't feel like the physical need to vape. Like I would vape occasionally, but dang, I haven't picked up a vape in probably a year. I just haven't felt the need to do it.
nice.
Because I'm just get lazy because my vape setup, I have to like do all this crap to get it working optimally.
Okay.
Because I don't use I use like a mechanical vape, which you gotta like clean and set up within certain specifications and all that.
Make sure it's
But
charged.
yeah,
I'm
you got to make sure you got the right wires in it, the right wicks in it, and it's a drip vape, so there's no tank, so you're constantly like dripping over the coils every couple puffs. So yeah, I just use that route to quit because
That's
when
a
I
good
was
idea.
I was smoking a lot when I was in game development. It's because you're in a highly stressful environment. So I'm a stress smoker. I smoke more. The more I'm stressed, the more I smoke. So I was starting to get like, I don't know what you call it, but I felt like I was getting like some breathing problems. I was smoking so
Oh
much.
damn.
So that's when I switched over to vape, and then I noticed wow, I can get up in the morning and not have to cough out a lung ever, which is amazing.
Wow.
I don't know if you guys as smokers like had experienced that, like when you get up in the morning and you're just like hacking away at the build up there. But that was like a usual routine for me in the morning, just like coughing up the phlegm. I don't really have any issues because I would occasionally have to cough up phlegm, and that's because I was a goddamn smoker. Like after I started vaping, I didn't have any of that. Like I didn't have any weird breathing problems. I didn't wake up in the mornings and then I had to cough my lungs out. Like literally when I was exercising, I felt so much better from vaping versus smoking. Like I felt that physical, like smoking. I felt baseline healthier switching over. But then I switched totally over to zero nicotine juices. And I didn't smoke any flavored juices. All the juices they were technically flavored, but they were always either mint or menthol, because I didn't know what kind of random shit they put in the other flavors. Because I heard that there are some flavors that are very damaging to your lungs. I think one of the flavors that were purported to do that were like any flavors that had like a lot of candy flavors and the butter flavors. They had so many weird freaking flavors at the local vape shop that I went to, but I just stuck to like real basic menthol flavors. And then eventually I just stopped because there was no nicotine in the vape. And I was like, I don't feel like cleaning the vape and setting it up. So it's just been sitting in a drawer for a year. The battery's probably not even charged.
Good for you, man. Well, and also if you decide to use it again at some point, it's not even harmful. Because
if I do use it, I still got like almost a full 60 milliliter bottle of zero nicotine vape juice that's just sitting there. But yeah, I do. I was like, I'll probably use it a couple times when my wife and kid go on vacation for summer.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not like a thing that I was like I would use to just do it at work because I'm here by myself, right?
Right.
And nobody cares what I'm doing here. And so that's when I did most of my vaping.
Okay.
And then it was just like 1 week I forgot to bring the vape with me. And by the end of the shift, I was like, oh yeah, I didn't get any craving whatsoever to like vape.
Wow.
And my smoking cravings were ridiculously hardcore. Like so hardcore, I'd do some pretty gross shit just to hit up on some nicotine. Like, I used to work at a hotel, and if I forgot my cigarettes, I'd go through the ashtray and look for the longest butts there and smoke
Holy
them.
shit.
Oh, I remember doing that.
Oh man,
Dude, that's
I've done
that's what I'm saying. That's how addictive nicotine is. Like,
100%.
you'll crave it so hardcore, and then you're at a hotel and then you're looking at the ashtray, and there's like 100 like half-smoked cigarettes. I'm like, I'll just pick one of these up and smoke it the rest of the way.
Holy crap.
Yeah, seriously,
or bum
dude.
them off people. I used to bum them off customers. Like, yeah, just like,
Yeah,
okay,
you look for people who smoke, and it's
Yeah.
funny too because when people bum off you know,
Oh, I know.
like, I was like, okay, but if the
You mean
same
like
person is
you
always
know that
bumming
they're-
them, then I was like, nah, I don't have any this time. Like, you gotta at some point, like, buy your own cigarettes.
And then you go through like I don't know if you guys did this too, but like you go through like the mini cigar phase where you like smoke the mini cigar.
I like those little cigarettes.
Oh no,
With the wine.
do you
tips
mean
or whatever?
like the cloves or like the You're talking about like the
Little
like the
mini
Black and
cigars.
Milds.
Yeah,
Yeah, those like
they're-
little mini cigars.
that's right. Yeah.
That's how I started smoking. That's what
no.
started me in tobacco. And the reason why I switched to cigarettes was because those mini cigar things that I was smoking did not have filters.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
And I
I
started
think
getting
they
like some chest pains.
aren't they
So I was
also
like, I can't smoke
stronger.
these anymore.
Aren't they also stronger too?
Yeah, I
Yes,
think they are.
but yeah, you don't have to like one of those cigar things would last me for an entire day.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, like I would not like I would smoke a fourth of it, come back to it, smoke another fourth. They would last a pretty long time. But
Hmm.
I don't know if you guys have these in Canada, but they're called Black and Milds. I know
Yeah, we do.
Shizan
But
probably knows. Those were the ones I would smoke,
Mm.
the Black and Milds. They're also very popular to
Those are
hollow
like
out
the
the
little
tobacco, fill it with
cigarette things
weed.
you're talking about. Is that what those are?
Yeah, they basically look like how can I explain it? Like
Is
Hunter
it
S. Thompson, like cigarettes, because they got the
I
little
mean,
tip
like
on
it
the
looks
end.
like a cigarette in a cigarette holder. I think I like Chris, you might know what I'm talking about. Like there have been times when I've been drunk before and I'm with a friend who has those cigarillos or something like that that'll have like a few puffs of one of those flavored cigarillos, and they're just like little like little kind of mini they're like what Dusty's describing, basically kind of
Mhm.
like big fat cigarettes, basically, that are kind of like a cross between a cigarette and cigar, really, because they have that filter
They're
thing.
like swishers.
There's a couple different types. Swishers would be like the fatter ones, and those are
Colt.
probably closer to like half cigars.
I think you're thinking of
Okay.
Colts.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds
So
familiar.
that's kind of the similar to what Dusty's talking about. He's just talking about the American kind of version
Okay.
of that, which is like
Yeah.
a darker tobacco, I think. But yeah, Colts have like the little plastic thing on it that you can like you're supposed to suck on after you get you. Yeah.
I was wondering too, have any of you guys smoked cigars? Because I've
I didn't go through a cigar phase. For me, the hardest stuff I smoked was the Marlboro Reds.
Oh man,
Those
those are
are
hard. Like I never smoked Reds because they just taste disgusting to me.
Oh, okay.
You guys
strong.
have the way better tobacco though. I don't know if you knew this or not, but American and Canadian tobacco, like cigarettes, are like it's night and day.
Oh, I didn't
You
know
guys
that.
don't get Marlboros or anything like that?
No, they're called like they're called a different name up here. They're not. You can't get Marlboro, and you can only get Marlboro Lights, like the white gold. I think they're whatever they're called. But
Oh, so you can't get Reds or menthols or nothing like that?
and
I might
no,
know the Canadian version that you're talking about, because I used to work at a convenience store.
you can get like something similar to that, but it's not even the same. Like and they used to have Marlboro something or others, but I've tried Marlboro Lights are like the fucking shit. They were like the best.
Oh, those taste gross.
Oh yeah, way better
Well, to
than
me, light cigarettes taste disgusting to me.
Oh.
See, the interesting thing to me is that, like, since I never became a smoker, I never started smoking consistently or bought a pack of cigarettes. I would just smoke those little cigarillos or something like that, or like have a few puffs of a cigarette or something if I were drunk with a friend who was smoking back in like my partying days. And then like also I have a friend who likes to occasionally, on special occasions like Christmas or New Year's, share a cigar between like me and him, and maybe sometimes like a few cigars among like 3 or 4 people. And I'm usually cool with doing that, and I definitely prefer that to cigarettes. And when I try, and like the one time I tried to smoke an entire cigarette when I was maybe in high school, in comparison to the other, like those flavored cigarillos and the actual cigars that I've smoked, I just remember it as being fucking gross. Like,
Oh yeah, you'll want to barf for sure. I remember smoking my first menthol and I just puked my guts out. It was like,
Really? You didn't like
yeah.
menthols?
Well, because it was early on, I had smoked regular cigarettes. I'm like, these are the bomb, and then I tried a menthol. I was like, whoa. I could like later on, I could have a menthol, no problem. But like when you first try those kind of, a cigarette or menthol, it's just like, bleh.
Yeah, menthols were my cigarette of choice. And cigarillos are mostly for gentle friends. If you want to go up to the bigger leagues, you gotta. All right, there we go. I was waiting for Andrew to laugh at that. He got the reference. I don't know if it was a black thing or whatever, but yeah, I like the menthols. I couldn't stand like normal tasting cigarettes because to me it tasted weird.
So like, I'm curious how you guys developed the habit of smoking in the first place. I know you, Dusty, you said you started with those cigarillos and then you.
Oh, it was a club in Mexico, and in Mexico you can smoke indoors, and they were passing around Black and Milds. That's what started the smoking habit for me. As in Mexico, you get tax-free cigarettes, so the cigarettes are cheap. So you just go in the clubs, go in the bathroom, buy a
some
pack of
countries
whatever.
are just like people a higher percentage of people smoke cigarettes. So like in Bangladesh, like everyone smokes cigarettes. So it's kind of like a cultural thing.
I
It kind of
think
went to.
it depends on I don't want to say class, but like I guess type of dominant work environment that people are involved in around there. Like here, there are a lot of people who work on site in the oil sands plants and and those places, and a lot of those people who work on site, which is most people in this town, smoke cigarettes, I would say, which is probably not representative of the population in general, I would say. Like
It's definitely cultural,
Mhm.
I know there's some cultural environments that foster it and some that don't.
It's just considered a manly thing to do in some cultures, like cigarettes.
Yeah.
That's what men do.
Yeah. Like the interesting thing about where I live is that I guess that you could say that most people have kind of traditionally working class type jobs. Like they have to put on a bunch of safety gear and go do a bunch of shit with a whole bunch of machinery for 12-hour shifts or some shit like that. But they get paid a hell of a lot of fucking money too. Like people who work on site here do because they make so much fucking money doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd agree with some of that. I fall kind of in that category. I'm half trades worker, half musician. So mine was smoking at work all the time because 90% of my guys that I work for and work with are smokers. They still smoke to this day. I'm probably one of the only non-smokers now. Same with being a musician, man, playing clubs late at night till 2 or 3 in the morning. You're going outside with the roadies and the other bands, or just people that showed up to the gig, and you're outside having a cigarette, or you're out at the back patio having a beer and a cigarette after everything finishes up. And yeah, those two things. That was my kind of world for a while. But yeah. It's gonna be interesting because I've never gone back to the bar scene, not a non-smoker, because COVID happened, obviously. So it's gonna be, you know what I mean, a good test if, whatever happens, if we go back to normal, whatever, you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's interesting how this can be a cultural thing. How you guys were talking about. I was wondering too, for you guys,
More a
Chris-
social thing. Sorry to interrupt. Like I would say more a
Go
social
ahead.
thing. Like both things. Like I'm smoking at work with other people that I'm around having a cigarette.
right?
I'm at the bar after all the bands of, we're all standing outside in like kind of like a circle, like in high school, and we're all like, having a cigarette and talking
Mhm.
and that kind of stuff. And it's like one of those.
Well, yeah, like even like when I was in high school, when the cool kids would go and smoke like to the side of the building of the convenience store where everyone would go and buy junk food for lunch. So it's like
I have
your group of the cool kids.
I have a question for the smokers. How many times did you buy a pack of cigarettes, smoke one, and get pissed off that you bought another pack of cigarettes and threw away said pack of cigarettes?
Mm-hmm. I did that. Man, I was so many
Done
homeless
it.
guys' best
Done it.
friend on some days because I would do that. Just that I would buy like one or two. I would grab like two more to have one like tonight or after a meal because that was my other favorite thing. Is after eating like a fucking steak or like Taco Bell or something like that. It was like fucking dirt. And then I would like give the rest of my pack to like whatever the homeless guy in the corner was, asking for money or darts. So yeah, I did that a bunch of times.
Yeah, I've done it.
Because when
I've bought
I threw
cigarettes.
packs out the window of my car, I would either do that or I would make sure to douse the pack underwater and make sure I didn't and throw it in the
Holy
trash.
shit!
To
Wow!
make sure I didn't go back and try to smoke whatever else was in there.
Wow!
I can't
Yeah,
count
that's
the
what I
amount
would
of times
do.
I
Put
did
it in
that,
the
but
trash most of the
so
time.
many.
What were you saying,
Yeah.
Shizan?
Yeah, so that's what I would do. So I don't go try to pick it up again. So I don't leave it somewhere lying around my house. So just toss it in the trash. I've done that once or twice. Like, yeah, this is my last cigarette. I don't know why I bought this pack again. It's like an instinct to buy. I just went to the shop and bought it. But then I just took like a few. So my whole cigarette phase was short-lived. So I started doing cigarettes and quit cigarettes in the last 3 years. So I don't have that many experiences doing it, but I've done it once or twice.
Okay.
I used to do crazy things. Like I used to take like a few cigarettes out of the pack and then just like randomly throw them around my garage here. And then like I knew I was going to try to quit. And then one day I would be quitting and then it'd be like day 4 and be like, fuck, I knew I threw a cigarette around here somewhere. And then I would find that cigarette and fucking have it. And then I'd sit it all over again. And would, yeah.
Oh,
I used to hide cigarettes
yeah.
from myself. Like how stupid is that?
I wanted to ask you, Chris, and Shizan, like, since you guys are stoners like me, did smoking weed make it any easier to quit smoking cigarettes, or does it now give you like some similar sense of enjoyment from like inhaling smoke?
Yeah, no, it doesn't give me a sense of like I know I'm smoking weed now, but you're right. It did help me for a while because you can buy those one hitters that look like cigarettes, and then you could just pack it with weed. So I would do that all the while because the one thing with smoking is it's not so much. It is the nicotine, but it's also the hand motion, right? You're not constantly like back and forth like this.
Feeling in the lungs.
Yeah, and if you're somebody that always likes fidgeting, I'm not always like, I don't know if you noticed me on this podcast, but I'm always all over.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Anyone who watches me probably sees me moving around constantly all the time too.
Yeah, for sure. So I got
I'm
a one
doing the
hitter,
same.
loaded it with weed, and then that helped me with the back and forth of the picking up an object to have and bringing it to my mouth and then bringing it away.
Right.
Yeah, I find that after like my dinner, like having a joint kind of feels like kind of similar to having a cigarette after dinner. So I do that still. Feels good. It feels like it does replace the feeling.
Yeah,
It's a good substitute. Also, like weed helped me quit because I feel like when you're stoned, when you're high, nicotine's like even harder to get into your body, right? It feels like that much more. I feel like it feels more repelling.
Really?
Yeah, it feels more toxic.
Do you get that sense, Chris?
No, but I've had those kind of like, I don't know. I remember having like weed and tobacco mixed in the same joint.
I was
And-
gonna ask you guys about that if you had tried those. What are they
and
called
trying
again?
that and, like,
Spliffs?
and getting a buzz off that, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it would be a different kind of buzz that you would get when you were high off just plain.
It's more
weed.
energetic, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I've heard that. I've never tried one of those before, but that's what people I know who've tried those have said to me about them.
One thing I did right was I never mixed my weed and my tobacco. I just kept it as like separate things, separate hobbies. So it's like I never mixed them into a joint. So I know some of my friends still like they quit cigarettes, but when they smoke a joint, it's like 50% tobacco or something like that.
Oh,
So they're
okay.
they're
So-
still hooked on tobacco, sort of. So
Yeah, they kind of quit smoking.
yeah.
They just also smoke weed.
I have a buddy that used to make torpedoes. So what he would do is you put a filter in there, like a piece of cardboard, roll the joint. It would be a mix of tobacco, weed, and then there would be hash in there as well. And it would be,
Wow.
it'd be light.
Yeah.
It would be lights out. You know, like when I got together with him.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah, many conversations where I was just like, what were we talking about?
Those were weed moments.
I'm cool with
Hey,
just
Chris,
getting-
you mentioned that you're in a trade. What trade was it?
So I work for like I'm a cable guy.
Oh,
So
yeah,
like,
that's right.
I work for I work for Rogers, which is like the Verizon kind of similar.
Mhm.
Similar.
So yeah, but
So
I
it's
do. I
like
don't.
a bunch of dudes just like installing shit and smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, a bunch of guys with ladders, climbing poles, ringing lines to. I don't do residential anymore, so I do purely commercial. So I'm hooking up, McDonald's and banks and dentists with internet all day. So
Okay. Because commercial, what's worse, commercial or residential?
residential for sure, because residential they're just complaining about their Wi-Fi sucking and all that kind of shit. Whereas commercial, you show up there and the employees don't give a fuck if their internet doesn't work, because if their internet doesn't work, they're not working today, so they actually like it, right? Unless the boss is there, and then you're hearing it from the boss, but the boss is rarely there anymore, right? So you're just dealing with like the person that and most of those things are just the employees afraid to reset the modem. So a lot of the times I just walk in, reset the modem, you're good to go, see you later.
That's funny.
But shouldn't these companies have like a remote reset feature though, or something like that?
Yeah, they do, and yeah, it's if the agent on the phone wants to go through that, a lot of these agents are timed, right? Even I think the American ones are too. So if you're able to solve the customer's problem in 30 seconds or under a minute, that looks amazing to your supervisors or whatever. If you take 14 minutes to solve somebody's problem, then that you suck, right? So to reset a modem could take anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes sometimes, and then there's half the time you're on the phone waiting for them to reset the modem. So a lot of the people.
Isn't it better to do that than have somebody go out there physically and do it? Like, isn't it
Yeah,
more
for
costly
sure.
to the company
For
to
sure.
have someone show up?
Yeah. I mean, again, like, I don't know, any kind of corporation like Hydro or anything like that. I mean, in a perfect world, right? A lot of this time, it doesn't happen that way. The guy answering the phone gets paid minimum wage and he's working from home and he could care less. He just most of the time just sends a tech out if somebody's complaining. So,
Yeah, I get it. I've been on that end of things before. But here's one other question. Do you get customers that refuse to take basic troubleshooting steps and think you're crazy? Like, whatever, because I have to do some troubleshooting on some things. And my first question is did you restart the device? And they will be like, I don't need to do that. It's been working for years and blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, 99% of the problems are solved with that simple task. And they'll still argue with me. I was like, okay. Well, if you don't want to go through troubleshooting step 1, there's not much else I could do for you here. I click.
Yeah, it's funny. A majority of my calls, I mean, I do have the one odd trouble call here. That's tough. I got to run a new line or whatever. But a lot of my calls are a simple modem reset. Would be able to refresh that modem within the server, and then it gets back up and running again to their proper speeds or whatever. Or you just giving them a new modem. That's also the case, right? So, but yeah, you're right. Customers don't want to do fuck all as far as like troubleshooting. They just want some guy to come out and fix it, depending on where you are on the spectrum as far as technology goes, right? A lot of like seniors, they don't. You give them a phone and they don't know what the fuck to do with it, right? Where
dude,
somebody our age, they'll go.
They should at least know how to turn the thing off and on. Like,
yeah,
come on.
100%. But a younger person that needs it for like school or something like that, or they need it for work, or if they're our age and they have like 2 cell phones and they got an iMac or whatever, or they have a network at home, they're gonna try to do everything they can to try to get that shit back up and running quick, right? So
yeah. Usually it's not young people calling me
no,
about
it's the
that
old
stuff.
seniors that just like most of them are retired and they just come out and
It's
fix
like,
my stuff.
well, like sometimes in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, if it's this much trouble for you to figure out how to put in a password on Amazon, you might as well just drive your ass to the store and do your shopping there.
Yeah, but
Like,
most calls are pretty easy. Most calls are super easy for me, honestly. Like I'm not like it's not like I'm building rockets or anything like that, right? So, it's
well, you would imagine. Yes, I would say some are like that, but most of them are like, oh my god,
yeah.
I just want to pull my hair out because one,
man.
they're blaming me that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's like, your system is so complicated, it's so difficult, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
It's like,
I've
well,
seen
if you
some
follow
crazy
my
shit.
instructions to the T, we will get through this. But if you keep interrupting me by saying this shit, it's my fault, then we're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah, I've seen some crazy shit. I've been doing it 15 years. I've seen like people have died. I've had the cops called on me. I've had fire
Died?
department
All
show
right, you got to
up.
talk about the died.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Seniors, when I go to senior homes, hey, I'm here for like Andrew, and then I get to the home, and then Andrew's no longer with us when I'm at a senior homes. But
Oh,
Wow.
I had a call the other day that there was like kids there, and like the parents were in the basement, and they were both high as a kite on heroin, like drooling all over the floor when I was there.
What the fuck? Dude.
Yeah, and
Dude.
like the grandmother's upstairs taking care of the kids, and she's got custody of them, and like those calls that you like Hoarders. You remember that show Hoarders that was on TV? That's an actual thing that's in a lot of people's homes.
Holy shit!
Like I've been to people's homes where there's like cereal boxes all over the place, and I can't even walk into the kitchen.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I know Hoarders is a real thing because back when I lived in California, like one of the people whose condo was like a few houses away caught on fire, and the firemen couldn't save it because there was just too much shit in the house that was they were hoarders, so there was no way they could save it. It went up quick and all their shit burnt up.
No, I've been in people's houses, man, where I could like literally take a dump on their floor and you wouldn't be able to find it.
Oh wow, dude, that's freaking crazy.
Yeah, I've been in. It's that bad in some houses. Like some people.
So basically, you're saying that the house smelled like shit.
Oh, 100%.
And there's just a bunch of shit laying.
100%. Like people with like 10 dogs and like 6 cats that live by themselves, and they never clean out the cat's litter box. They, what I mean?
Okay, so if I was that bad, I would never call anybody to come to my goddamn house.
Dude, if you're like that, you're gonna give yourself fucking diseases, man. Like, goddamn.
They probably, I bet they're like at that point, they're pushing their immune system so hard that they probably have a pretty hardy ass immune system.
Yeah,
I guess. Hopefully, man.
Yeah,
God
for sure.
damn.
Yeah, I've seen some.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, I almost became a dish installer. So that's kind of probably what I would have seen. I'm guessing because I almost worked for the Dish Network to become an installer, I was like, oh, I'll do this work at home thing instead.
I went to a guy's
But-
house once, and he was like an older man, and he was loaded, and he had like a ton of money, but he was like had dementia or something like that. He was crazy, but he had a bunch of mannequins all over his house, like set up like at the dinner table, and they had like a plate in
What
front
the
of.
fuck?
What? Yeah. Just hold on a second, because it gets crazier. They had like a plate. He had like a plate, and he would talk to them while I was there. Like, hey, Cindy, do you need one? You want me to get another water or whatever? And there was like full on mannequin with like hat on, full on clothes, actual food in front of them, like wine with like wine in the bottle and stuff like that. Like another gentleman across with a hat. And then I had to go in the basement because all the electrical and all the wires are usually in the basement in people's homes.
Oh.
And I went in the basement, and there was like all these arms and all these legs hanging up all over the place, because what he would do.
Fuck.
I mean, that's
creepy, dude.
100%. Oh, it's so creepy.
Fuck.
He lived by
I would have
himself.
run up, man. Just too many red flags.
That's so fucking creepy. I'm like, I'm about to get murdered right now.
Oh, it was so weird, because at first I thought they were real people, and then after a while I was like, no, those aren't real people. And then I went into the basement, and there was like, yeah, he had arms, because like if they broke an arm or they needed to be switched out for like a different costume or something like that, he would switch out the actual arms and shit like that. But he had all these mannequins that lived all over the place. He had like one sitting on the couch reading a book, and it was weird. And he would talk to them the whole time. They all had names and stuff like that. It was really weird.
Dude, you need to write a book, Diaries of a Cable Guy. Like, all these goddamn stories are amazing.
Yeah,
and if you wanted to like think of a format, I would think of you probably reading like a Dave Sedaris book. In Canada, I don't know. Are you familiar with David Sedaris?
I know who he is. I've never read any of his stuff though, but I know
they're all funny. Like it's all kind of like slice of life journal entry type things.
Yeah.
But it's all of his observations of wacky ass shit, like the type of stuff that you see, but
we do.
He does it in such a funny way.
Like Larry the Cable Guy. I know Larry the Cable Guy is I don't think he's an actual cable guy, but like it's true. You can base a comedy routine off of the shit I see on a daily basis. And my wife is like thoroughly entertained all the time.
Yeah. That happens when you talk to crazy ass. Well, me, I just talk to crazy ass people. I don't.
But it's also a numbers thing. Like I do anywhere between 5 and 10 calls a day for the last 15 years, 5 days a week, right? So, you know, if just after being in 10,
you're gonna see
20,
something.
I'm gonna see something. Exactly. I'm about to run into something crazy. You know what I mean? So
you're gonna see something. Yeah, I've gotten those weird customers, and there's weird repeat customers. I don't know if you have those, but
all the time.
There's like this dude. I don't know why that he keeps calling. And the first question he asks, "Oh, do you play video games?" And you could tell he's like something like weird, socially awkward person. And I was like, "Oh, it's this guy again." I talked to him. I don't like make him feel bad or anything. It's like, okay, I'll talk to this dude for 20 minutes about video games.
Might as well,
and then I'll try to wrap it up.
A lot of the
well, I'm not supposed to talk to him for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But when it comes to my metrics on the phone, I'd rather that the customer be happy than me trying to rush them. You know,
right?
There are people that do the rushing, and I don't really give a crap. Those things don't really affect my metrics that much. Like I rather if a customer answers a survey and they say, "Oh, this guy was a piece of shit," that would actually like be worse than me talking to some dummy for an hour, like trying to figure out how to log into Amazon. Like
That makes sense.
Yeah, it is a metric that's there, but like our leadership's like, yeah, it's there. You can try to improve on it, but it's not like something primary that we look at. We just want to make sure that everyone's happy that you're dealing with. So my job is all about that and how to avoid giving the customer a way to complain about you if you say something shitty to them or are shitty. As I have my tricks, you know, when I know that the call is not going to be recorded, I can say some pretty dastardly things, and I have, because I know no one's ever going to hear it because the call only gets recorded once I pull up a customer's account. So I'll talk to them to gauge what they're calling about, and if they sound like a real asshole, I'll try not to pull up their account in any meaningful way.
That's
So,
a good idea.
yeah, so I'll do that if I know if they're an asshole. But yeah, that's all it is. Just like making people say yes on a survey. That's basically what my job's all about.
Right.
Yeah, we're the same. Just try not to make the customer call back in after you've been at their house, because that.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, that too. So that plus you have a 48-hour window for them not to call back. So if you call them, if they call back within a 48-hour window, it's like worse than getting a no on a survey.
We have 30 days. If they call in 30 days, that's a X on you.
Oh, 30 days, man, that's horrible.
It's a long time to get it.
Yeah, that's a long time.
And there's a threshold. Like obviously nobody can hit 0 on that, right? But if it's like if you're a tech that has like a 30%, you know, of your calls are calling back every 30 days, then you're really bad. But if you have like a 5%, then you're really good or whatever. You know what I mean? So there's a threshold.
Yeah, I totally get it. It's fun. It's fun and sometimes annoying dealing with people. I just hate when people get all political on the phone.
Oh yeah,
I don't want to hear about. It's like,
political
or
COVID. COVID is the other one. Like people just want to, and I get it. A lot of people that I see, I'm like the first human they've seen in the last year and a half, right? So they want to let me know exactly how much the government sucks and how much COVID. Either you know. And I had a lady the other day that thought that the Canadian government has planned this whole thing the whole time. And I was like, okay, sure. And I don't get involved I can't get involved in the conversations, obviously, because I'm wearing a uniform, right? But
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just, whatever you want to tell me. I'm cool to listen to you for an hour.
Well, I only push back if I know I'm not. One, I know I won't have. If I know I can suppress a survey, I'll push back.
Yeah.
So the last time, actually, either I know that I can make the customer angry enough that I can hang up on them, which is another way I can resolve the call. Because anytime they get hung up on, if they don't follow our policy when it comes to talking to us, then I can hang up. And when I say following policy, it's like making threats or like using abusive language. It's not just cussing. It's like saying, "Oh, you're a fucking idiot," stuff like that. I can hang up in people's faces. So I think last time there was like some dude calling in, and he was like, "Oh," and I didn't say anything political at all. And he's like, "Oh, you must be one of those, Dr. Fauci lovers, and you're a liberal." And blah, blah, blah. I was like, "Okay, dude."
Dr. Fauci.
Like, well, yeah, something so stupid. And I was like, well, and he started like selling, "Oh yeah, you guys are just a bunch of idiots up there," and blah blah blah. I was like, well, I said, well, look, we need to keep this conversation civil if you want to continue on assisting you here. He's like, well, whatever. Let me talk to your supervisor. And I was like, oh, awesome, great. That's like one of the other things I love when they ask for a supervisor, because that's just, I don't get dinged if they ask for a supervisor. It has no bearing on my performance at all. So sometimes if I know that they're going to be kind of like a pain, I subtly hint that there's an option for them to talk to somebody with quote unquote more options. And they'll choose that path, and that relieves me of having to satisfy that person. So like, great. Like some people think, well, a lot of customers think when you call Amazon, it's like, oh, I'll get this bastard. I'll ask for a supervisor. was like, yeah, awesome. Yeah.
Right.
Hell yeah, I'll get you a supervisor. And a supervisor is usually some Indian dude overseas. So like I was like, okay, yeah, for sure. And it's usually the customers that ask, because when you call Amazon, you could actually request for a US native. And
Okay.
a lot of that times that happens where they call. It's like, oh, I want to speak to your supervisor. It's like, great. And I know when they say your supervisor, they're referring to like a U.S. native supervisor. But if they don't specifically say it, I don't have to transfer them to one. So I just transfer them back overseas so they can get pissed off again. So it's like, yeah, I'm just going to give you the runaround here. If you're going to be an ass, I'll just either hang up on you. Sometimes I'll just hang up on them without warning. I just say, oh, well, you have a great day. And click. Like, I don't have to pull up with your assholery here.
Yeah.
And then I'll send them an email, like a really threatening email that says, we have a communications policy, and if you continue to violate it, we will terminate your accounts. It's a canned email, and I have total authority to send it to them.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
If they say something shitty on the phone or racist or whatever, like, but if they say something mildly racist, I just kind of just put it in the like the call notes. It's like, yeah, this person hates Filipino people apparently. I'll just put that here in the comment section. So like whenever someone gets the call, they'll know who they're dealing with. Okay, this is the guy that hates Filipino people. All right, let's talk to him. And then one lady's like, there's one lady I talked to on the phone. I think one of her packages was like late. It was like coming a day later. She's like, oh, I need it now. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, oh, I hope you all get COVID and die. And then she hung up the phone. Like,
Wow.
oh, like, wow, that's awesome. And then I went and looked at the call log, and apparently she does this to almost everybody she talked to at Amazon.
Wow.
So I was looking at all the notes from previous calls. I was like, yes, she told me that I would get COVID and die. It's like, wow, this lady has a problem. I'm surprised she hasn't been banned yet.
There was a chick, like some chicks on dating apps have their Snapchat. So there was a chick who I added on Snapchat because she had it on her Tinder, and then it was one of those who was just trying to sell me her OnlyFans account, and I said, no, I'm not gonna buy that. I'm not interested. And then she said, I hope you get COVID and die, and your whole family gets it and dies too. I'm like, holy fuck, blocked. Complaint filed.
Wow.
What was that name again?
Yeah,
OnlyFans,
COVID and die is like the new, like, stick it up your ass, you know.
Yeah.
And I always gotta be wary if like if I hear somebody and they have a New York accent, I'll give those people more leeway because that's just how they talk. They have to say something very offensive for me to like hang up on them, because I know culturally that they just like whatever comes out of their mouth is kind of like how they operate over there.
Okay.
So yeah, whenever I hear that East Coast, like northern East Coast accent, I was like, okay, I gotta put on my I gotta put my inhibitions a bit lower here about being trigger happy on the snark. So I just gonna dial back that snark. I like when people just get super offended. But well, they'll just say something absolutely stupid, and I just got to follow up with how stupid their statement is by confirming the stupidity of said statement. So I know this one lady came on and she's like, oh, my package was late and you need to fix it. It's like, okay, well, what was late? Like, well, can't you see it right there on the screen? Like, can't you see? I was like, okay, well, I'll go through your entire orders list. All right, here's a movie that you ordered, a digital movie from. It has like nothing, absolutely nothing to do with a package. And then she's like, "Oh, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're out of your mind." And then I just hung up on her.
Yeah, I would too, man. Jesus.
So I was like, "Yeah, this one people get mad, but who needs to be unreasonably mad over a late fucking package? Like I
Yeah.
get late packages all the goddamn time, and I do not take time out of my day to call about a package.
Yeah, like
It's just
why would you do that to yourself? It's just adding more torture to it.
yeah, it's like, oh, where's my shit? Let me go call Amazon. I was like,
I want to get mad about it.
me
See, look,
neither.
crazy,
It's
though.
like
I've been kidnapped before.
like that's why I
multiple
don't.
times.
You said you've been
Been
kidnapped?
kidnapped before?
Yeah, like you're not leaving here until my internet is fixed. Like, okay,
Oh shit!
I can't leave. I can't
Wow.
leave your house at all. No, you're not leaving until my internet's fixed. Like, okay.
Holy shit, dude.
This has happened
Wow.
like multiple times. I've had multiple people tell me you're not like because they've been fucked over so many times that by the time they get to me, you know what I mean? It's like this
So
is
what
gonna get
eventually
fixed today.
happens? Like, what do you do in those situations?
Well, I don't know. Most of the time, I can like I don't know. I'm pretty.
Do you like sneak out?
No, I yeah. I don't know. I can usually fix a majority of people's problems unless it's like an issue, like a server issue or something like that I can't fix. And if it's that, I mean, I'm just trying to use my charm as much as I can. But yeah, I know I've had people tell me like, "You're not leaving here until my internet is fixed," or "You're not leaving here until I have
Holy shit.
internet." And it's like, okay,
That's scary.
Wow, man.
yeah,
Probably be worse in the U.S. You know, like they start bringing out their shotgun.
yeah.
Like, you ain't let her hear this motherfucker's fixed. God damn it!
You're
Yeah.
on my
Yeah.
property. If you leave, I have the right to shoot you for some reason.
Well, at least I can hang up on people. You know, I don't have to leave them on the line.
That's true.
I've had that too, though. Like where I've been on people's because I'm looking for green boxes or like poles that have our distribution on it a lot of the times, and if it's in your backyard and you know it looks like you're not home, and I've knocked on your door and you didn't answer, I'm going in your backyard. But I've done that before, and people come out and it's like, "Get the fuck off my property." It's like, okay, great.
Well, why were what were you doing on their property?
But usually I play dumb a lot. It's my favorite game to do. Like if somebody's like, "Get the fuck off my property," I'll be like, "What's that? Sorry, what?" And they're like, you get off my property. You're not supposed to be back. I'm like, "Sorry, what did you say, sir?" You know?
No, I usually do that if someone asks me a incredibly dumb or unanswerable question.
Yeah, for sure.
That's very dangerous to do in
maybe
America. It's definitely something you can do in Canada.
But I do
Yeah,
this like when
yeah.
people get into political stuff too. Like I'll be at somebody's home and they'll be like, I don't know. "Oh, did you hear about this Brett Kavanaugh guy and what's going on?" I'll be like, even though I know exactly what I've been following the whole entire thing, I'll be like, "Oh, I've never heard of this before. Tell me what's going on." "Oh, he's a rapist, and he's gonna." And it's like, "Oh, he's a rapist. They're gonna nominate a rapist into the." Wow, that's crazy.
Well, what do you do when a customer threatens legal action?
Oh, I laugh because you're taking on. Like,
You laugh.
I do, and I'm really transparent with a majority of my customers. I'd be like, "Don't even bother doing that. What do you know? You're taking on a multi-billion-dollar corporation. First of all, like the company I work for, like, good luck. You know what I mean? You're not going to win any kind of case, no matter what it is. But we get threatened legal action all the time for like, hey, I want this pole out of my backyard. I don't want it here anymore. I'm going to sue you guys. And I'm like, listen, you're going to take on a corporation that has billions of dollars, billions, right? They get like, they're going to show up with 50 lawyers. You're going to show up with like some guy you hired off the corner and you think you're going to win this case? No. And the like here in Canada, our telecom communication companies are backed by the government pretty much, like the CRTC. And it's, yeah, you're not going to win against the government, right? So I don't know. Good luck. I tell people straight up, I'm like, don't even bother. I've had people threaten action, like, I'm going to get rid of this pole, blah, 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 blah. And I drive by it 5 years later. I'm like, oh, there's that pole that guy said he was going to sue us for.
Or they say like, oh, I'm gonna go to the news station, or I'm gonna post something on Twitter. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, the one I did argue with somebody recently though, on Amazon regarding they were talking. Well, here's the thing. There's people will fraudulently review items for monetary gains. I'm pretty sure you guys are aware of that on Amazon, that there's fake reviews, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
So-
assume that there are fake reviews, but I didn't know you could get monetary gain from those.
Well, people will work for like, hey, we'll give you 200 reviews for X amount of dollars, and it's usually
okay.
some person in China or something that goes and
it's
makes a bunch of fake Amazon accounts and
always
starts
Chinese
reviewing
products.
stuff. Yeah, like really crappy products too. So
Yeah.
That was the problem with the vape juices thing that you mentioned earlier too.
oh yeah, vape
wasn't
juices
it?
from freaking China. You
Yeah,
gotta stay
like
away from those.
cheaply improperly made ones.
Yeah, you gotta stay away. That's why whenever I bought vape juice, it had to say made in the U.S. I wouldn't buy any vape juice otherwise. But so yeah, this guy, heavy Chinese accent, like laughable sentence structure. He comes on because he's like, oh, I am going to take legal action. I was like, well, about what? And he's like, well, you guys have removed my access to reviews. And I was like, well, what is the damages? He's like, well, you have damaged me intellectually. I was like, well,
Way to go.
yeah. I was like, well, in order to really have a case here, well, first of all, there's the terms of service regarding reviews, and second of all, you have to prove some type of monetary damage. And third of all, if you prove monetary damage, that means you're using the reviews out of our terms of service. So what is it here? How do we damage you monetarily here? Like, well, I don't care. I will talk to my lawyer. I've had many of blah blah blah. I was like, well, good luck, man. Like, here's what I'm saying. Go ahead and sue us. I'm not even going to tell you not to sue us. You know why? Because you could sue for anything in America. It just doesn't mean that you're going to win. You can go ahead and waste your money on a lawyer over this, but go ahead.
I'll be rooting for you, because if you win, that's like David and Goliath, and I would just.
Well, he wouldn't. He absolutely had no case.
Sure, no.
Because he was obviously nobody calls in about their being removed from making reviews.
Mhm.
Like, nobody does unless they make money doing it. And that's always been the case. And I've talked to many people who've called and had that stripped away from them.
But can you just
And-
create another account at that point? Like, why even bother with phoning you guys? I just like, okay, I can't make it a review under, Mr. Kim. I'm going to go with Mr. Lee. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I think, well, it's because they can detect your IP.
Yeah, probably IP ban.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So if they see repeat behavior and they say it's from the same IP, then they're just going to close that account. So, it's like, okay, yep. Yeah, you can't use our site to make money off of fake reviews. Like, I didn't tell them that, but I wasn't going to make the accusation straight up on the phone, but I knew what it was about. Because I know Amazon's been trying to crack down on like fake ass reviews, so much so that there's been companies now banned from selling products. I don't know, MPOW, are you familiar with that company?
Not me.
No.
Yeah, they made a bunch of Bluetooth shit. Like, I got one of their little things, but they got banned from Amazon. Like, a bunch of companies that typically are based in China. Like you go on Amazon nowadays, and there's like 100 like crappy Chinese products on there. Like you have to buy name brand shit on Amazon if you don't want to get screwed over. And a lot of people don't know this, and they're my cheap ass. They're like, oh, this had a bunch of reviews, and it said blah 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 blah. And I look at it, it's like some brand I've never heard of in my life, and I look because you can actually check who the vendor is, and it'll tell you their business address. So you could check and see if it's like a straight up Chinese company selling things. Like there's a difference, there's American companies that outsource to China, and then there are straight up Chinese companies that just go on Amazon and sell things.
Oh, and you can tell it's the packaging that I think that gives it away the most. Like if I order something like a name brand like Sony or something like that, and it comes in, it's like, wrapped, bubble wrapped. I got a cardboard thing around it. I got like instructions in there. I order something from China from Amazon, and it comes in like just a piece of plastic around it, and then that's it. And I gotta assemble it myself, and it's got like parts missing from it or something like that. So the packaging, you could tell the difference on for sure.
Yeah, so it's just like, man, that's the thing about ordering online. You just got to do research. You can't just like, oh, look at this pretty little thing. I like the colors. Let me go.
And the research is usually the reviews, right? The people research products reviews.
It's the reviews, but also a lot of those products have a shit ton of fake reviews on them.
Yeah, I don't even use the reviews on Amazon. I'd go
so basically what you're saying is that Trump is right and the problem is China.
Who's Trump?
It's just who's Trump? Yeah, Trump is saying that he's going to be reinstated or some shit like that now.
Man, I don't even pay attention to that shit anymore, to be honest. I still pay attention to political stuff, but not I don't fucking care what Trump's doing now. He could fucking still run in 2024, which would be a fucking clusterfuck and a half. But,
Yeah, because I don't know. There's no way in hell they're running Biden again. Like, really? The dude's going to be in his 80s.
Or it'll be like Kamala Harris versus Trump. Like, Trump would win.
No, I think they'd be stupid.
Matchup.
I would think that the Republicans would be stupid to run Trump again. If they were smart, they'd
run
if they would run DeSantis after the way he's projected through this whole COVID crisis or whatever. Because Florida is seen as.
Well, I think at least here's the deal. At least since Kamala or Kamala, whatever, is not, she would still have to get primaried.
Excuse me, her name is pronounced Kamala.
Yeah, she would still have to get primaried though, so there's still a bit of a pretty good chance that she may not be the next nominee for 2024, even if Biden does step down.
I thought I had heard that Trump was way more popular than other Republican candidates.
Probably.
In the past?
Probably is, right?
More recently. I heard this from... I'm pretty sure I heard this from left-wing sources, though, so take that into account, of course.
You think it's gonna be another old guy, like the Democrat and Republican Party?
I don't know, man. It's so hard
because the recent trends are all really old guys, right?
Maybe people are following the back to normal trend that they're following with Biden. It's hard to say. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think it's definitely going to be interesting because it's so wide open, I think, at this point. You don't know who the Democrats are going to run with. You don't know who the Republicans are going to run with.
Yeah.
Midterms are coming up, but yeah. And there's a New York race going on right now with Andrew Yang that's semi-interesting. But if anything, it's going to be name recognition. If Trump runs, he's going to obviously be the nominee for the Republican Party. But if he doesn't run, it's kind of up in the air.
Yang took a big hit recently with his comments on Israel, Palestine. So
yeah,
I don't know his odds are looking in New York.
Yeah.
All of New York is
It's-
really heavy Jew.
I think
Yeah, I
it's
don't think
really
he's
just
number
going
one
to
anymore.
depend on how many people still hate Trump that much.
Yeah.
Because I think his loss is primarily because people fucking hate him. He's responsible for bringing out that many people to vote against him. I don't think anybody was like, "Oh, I really love Joe Biden. Yeah, he really gets me out there voting."
Yeah.
No, it was like, I fucking hate Trump. Let's make sure this guy is out of office by any means necessary. And even just like Biden winning the primary, that was all about who can we pick to defeat Trump. Had nothing to do really about,
Yeah.
I like this guy's policies the best.
That's what Biden ran
let's
on
get him.
too. That's what his campaign policy was. Hey guys, I'm not Trump.
Biden got so lucky with the whole how things turned out because it wasn't looking that good for him. I don't think he was going in there looking like he was gonna win before the whole virus thing and Trump
Yeah, I
mishandling it.
thought so too. I think you and I, Chris, and you and I, Dusty, have talked about this before about how, like, if not for coronavirus, Trump might have been a hell of a lot more likely to win.
Yeah, I said that. I said
Yeah.
that publicly. That if
Yeah, I think
well, at
that's
the time,
pretty
even
true.
before coronavirus was coming around, I was like, Trump's gonna win this again, guys. Then coronavirus
Yeah, I kind of
happened,
thought so too.
and I had to switch my betting, but
It's mostly because I feel like it's mostly because of all the Democratic Party people who hate Biden and like the mainstream Democratic Party right now that Trump was gonna win if something like coronavirus didn't come up.
What do you mean? What about Cornel West?
No, not coronavirus. Like because the trend was on Democratic Party. People were losing trust on mainstream Democrats, right? Like
Oh,
Biden.
Yeah.
Biden, Obama's, and stuff like Clinton's. That's probably why Trump was gonna win, more likely to win, because of all the people that were switching sides from Democrat, because Democrat Party was getting to, neo-lib.
I think another
Yeah.
big reason why Trump didn't win is like he switched from populist rhetoric in 2016 to like culture war rhetoric. It's like people don't give a shit about the culture war enough to like go out and vote about it. It's like it's not, and it proved to be right. Like I guess there were a lot of people who voted for Trump, but damn, there were a lot of people that didn't want him in office.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And their proof is like, how can somebody like Joe Biden get this many votes? It's not possible. It's like, it's not because of Joe Biden, you dumbasses. It's because they don't like Trump.
True. I mean, I wasn't that big a fan of any party or even that interested in politics before Trump became president. That's what really charged me up on politics and stuff like that. Like, why? Like, how could it happen? What's going on?
Yeah.
How can this happen? I think that's what a lot of people's interest is like. Donald Trump is president? What the fuck?
Yeah.
This dude?
Yeah.
if Trump was
That's
a president,
right.
I don't think I'd be
Huh?
talking to you guys though. At the same time, like
Yeah.
Trump for me, like I went through the same thing. I was like, this guy became the apprentice guy is president right now, and then it wasn't until Hunter came along on Joe Rogan, and I saw that whole spiel, and then I went down the whole mixed metal arts rabbit hole, and that's how I met Dusty and Andrew, and that's how what I mean. So
Yeah, I think the
and-
Hunter appearance was like a huge jumping point for a lot of people when he was on JRE.
Yeah, for 100%. That's how I heard about him. And I had heard of mixed metal arts before because they had Jordan Peterson on before Joe and Sam Harris did. So yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's like
I think I
JP was the one who elevated the culture war to like ridiculous levels.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, I would argue the whole intellectual dark web kind of elevated a lot of those issues early on with Trump and Kavanaugh and Russiagate, and what else did we go through? Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah, kids in cages.
Kids in cages, yeah.
Making fun of disabled people during a speech.
Charlottesville.
Yeah,
Charlottesville, that's a big one.
Charlottesville.
People fighting at Trump rallies and all that other crap.
That's
and
why
just saying outlandish shit. I think the first big thing was Trump's speech about Mexicans. That's like the first thing that ignited like all the Trump bullshit. But that was his first public speech about his presidency, so it started off pretty crazy from the outset.
Yeah, definitely. like I think it helped because like I wasn't like a super anti-Trump person, but am not a fan of him either. It was easier for me to just be entertained by all the ridiculous shit that he said. I thought it was kind of hilarious.
Yeah, it was entertaining.
The Trump era was exciting. I'll say that. But sometimes it's exciting, but it's also burns you out. I was just burnt out, man. I just want some calm ass, boring person to be in office, you know?
Right.
President houseplant.
President houseplant, yeah.
Yeah.
Just gotta water it, once a week or whatever. Don't have to pay attention to it much. You just put it in the corner.
Yep.
Let it do its job.
Give it a little bit of sun.
About Twitter.
Naps the rest
a little
of the
bit
day.
of sunlight and some ice cream.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't heard anything about Joe Biden and Twitter. Like, does he even tweet? I don't think so.
That's a good question.
No.
I don't think he tweets.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that was like what all of the
right-wing media attacks him and like for the most ridiculous reasons too. So it's not even that interesting. It's like what?
Yeah, I forgot to tell you about some other Amazon stories. When we shut down Parler, I got so many calls about it.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, because you guys had held the servers for it.
Oh, the web
we destroyed it, but they were using AWS. So we had a bunch of people, I'm going to cancel my Prime. You guys are communists. And how can you be against conservatives? Blah, 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 blah. Like, I'll be happy to cancel your Prime. No problem. Let's go ahead and do it.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I was like, man, you guys really cared about this Parler thing, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, I get caring about it, but you're a fucking communist. I'm canceling my Amazon.
Yeah, we're communists.
Amazon's communists now.
Yeah, Amazon's a communist.
Fucking biggest capitalists ever. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, I remember I was arguing with
shutting Parler down. That's the most capitalist thing, right? Like,
I was arguing with someone on Mixed Metal Arts. Where I was saying, all the corporations are communists, and that's where it all leads to. Like, huh?
What?
That doesn't make sense, man. And he's like, you know that company? I know what company was it. He was like referencing a founder of a company, and the founder had been dead for over 100 years. And the founder had said some communist shit. I was like, this guy's been dead for over 100 years. He's not really running that company anymore. Are you sure about this? Like, okay. But what he was saying is true for all corporations. Oh, okay. Sure, guy. Yeah. Yeah, all corporations today are super communist. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Amazon wants to make all of its workers equal owners of the company. Yeah, pretty sure.
Certainly. Oh
Pretty
yeah.
sure that Bezos. Pretty sure that
More on
Bezos wants to sell
company
all of his
policies.
stock.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Bezos definitely wants to sell all of his stock and give it away to like the rest of the company so that everybody
Oh,
has
yeah.
an equal say. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Totally. Yeah, that's totally
Pretty
what
sure
happened.
that's all. Pretty sure that's how public companies work. You know, the guy
That's
that has the 50% share that gets to say how and why and gets to move the company in that direction. Yeah, that person's just going to give up all their economic power and say for that company. It makes total sense.
That's
Oh
why.
yeah.
That's why I got a divorce.
uh,
That's half of it for him. He's like, I don't want to give half of my money away, and what better way to do that?
well, at least I don't
Speaking of which,
get any
though,
more like. At least I don't get any more calls about, oh yeah, your guys' service is going through the hole because Bezos got divorced. Like, since that's not like a common headline anymore, I don't have to deal with that. I was like, yeah, that totally makes sense, guy. Yeah, his divorce has personally caused Amazon service to just kind of go in the hole there. It's all about that divorce. Yeah. Sure, guy. Yeah.
Bezos just personally micromanages everything in Amazon. It's just the
Yeah,
divorce
exactly.
is tearing him apart.
Yeah.
You know, I want to talk to corporate. I'm angry. It's like, yeah, here's Jeff's email. Here's his email. Go ahead and email him, and I'll give out his email. Like, yeah, here's his email address. You can talk to him directly.
J
See what he
Bezos at
says.
onlyfans.com.
I think it's just Jeff. This is Jeff at Amazon.
Jeff at email.com.
I think the most exciting thing is just dealing with angry people. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, it's pleasant dealing with pleasant people, but angry people are entertaining.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's true.
Angry people are super entertaining.
Yeah. Like, because like, especially in your industry where they're complaining about their Amazon package either not being delivered on time. And in my industry, they're complaining about like this information that comes through a cable not coming to them fast enough or at all. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like we're like in an industry where like they couldn't get their medical treatment on time or they couldn't eat or they don't have shelter. It's like these like super first world problem issues that they always have. It's always like, you know what I mean? And I get it. Like that shit can be frustrating too. But man, I've had like people cry in front of me and it's like, this is weird. Why?
Shit. Wow.
Oh yeah, I've had like old ladies just like, oh, my bill was supposed to be $300 and it's 3,000. I'm like, well, you know, call customer care. I'm sure they would understand and go back on your bill and see all that data on the actual computer and fix it. Like, why are you crying?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally get that. I've had a couple. Yeah, first world problems pretty much sums up most calls.
Yeah.
That's basically what you're dealing with. And seeing people get irrationally angry over these first world problems is hilarious. But usually, and this is what I've heard, because we do have agents that just take Canadian calls and they say, yeah, all the Americans are freaking assholes and the Canadian customers are pretty nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you know what the difference is? Like, I get this. The difference is, and I get this all the time. It's like, I know you don't want to hear about my problems because you hear about this all the time. But, and then they go into their whole entire speech. Whereas you guys probably don't get that whole intro before that. They just go right into it.
Yeah, well, usually the intro is, I'm mad. It's like, okay. And then you find out what they're mad about.
I get people that
and then
like.
sometimes it's. Oh, go ahead.
I get like people on the phone. They're the passive aggressiveness is my favorite. Like I'll be like, "Hi, this is Chris from blah blah blah. I'm on my way to your house." They're like, "Okay, fine. I'll see you when you get here. I'm coming to your house to help you." And it's like you. I know what you're doing. You're acting that way to make yourself mad. You know what I mean? So I'm like, "Oh my god, this person's so mad. I gotta get there ASAP and fix their problem." They don't realize that I did
do that right away.
wow, you know, but people like they do this like they do this dramatic kind of thing where they
People do that in like some people do that just in other like regular everyday situations too, like female friends of mine who have had those like stereotypical women friends who get all anxious about everything and everything is an emergency. Like, I don't know if I should text this guy or not. He hasn't texted me in 5 hours and 43 minutes. Should I text him or not? I don't know what to do.
yeah, no, there's
I
a
hate
lot
when.
of drama.
Do you hate when customers try to like force empathy on you? Like there was one, many, because they do this all the time. Like, well, how would you feel if your daughter's birthday is tomorrow and the package didn't arrive on time? And in my head, I'm like, I don't tell them this, but I'm like, well, that's why I order shit 2 weeks in advance.
Yeah.
You know, I don't tell them that's fucking obvious. Like if something you order, if something comes out wrong, then it's your fault for not anticipating that scenario. Like for Christmas, I always order shit. Once December 1st hits, I do not order any more Christmas presents. That's because
wow.
I know shit can happen. I know shit can happen, and I might have to send something back or get something replaced and whatnot. But after the first hits, I don't order any more Christmas presents. And that's usually the same with birthdays and everything else. You know, I'll try to do it 2 weeks in advance to anticipate shit. Like I don't order shit last minute. Oh yeah, 2-day shipping. That's gonna save me for being a fucking procrastinator. And then when that plan fails, they get pissed off at us because of their inability to do shit like in a timely manner. It's like, yeah, we're Amazon, but we're not fucking perfect. You know, there's like a large chain of humans involved, and if the post office loses your shit, it's not a whole lot I could do. I could tell you, hey, you know, go yell at your post office, but that's about it. You know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's just crazy. Just like crazy first world problems. It's like, well, just fucking go to Walmart and buy your kid a gift. God damn it. Like, you act like you can't do that shit. Like Amazon's the only place that sells shit. You're like, come on. I wouldn't be calling Amazon. I'd be trying to go out there and buy a gift. Like, oh, you better send this overnight shipping immediately, blah, 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 blah. It's like, can't do it.
If it's that urgent for you, go to like a store.
Yeah. And if you live in the boonies, that's what happens when you live in the boonies. Can't blame that shit on us. It's not my fault that your post office doesn't deliver because you guys go live in the boonies. It's not our fault.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's usually like people who live in the boonies that have all kinds of problems. So what do you expect? You guys live out in the middle of nowhere. It's like you gotta drive like 20 minutes just to go to your post office. You gotta drive 45 minutes to get gas. Like, what do you expect is gonna happen? You think all your deliveries are gonna go fine living out there in the middle of nowhere? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think people are gonna be super comfortable driving in the middle of the night, like trying to deliver shit to your place that looks like it's a haven for serial killers? No, that's just not how it's gonna happen. Like I used to be in a different department, right, where I had to deal with drivers, and drivers did not like driving out in the country at like 8 or whenever it's past dark, because there were times where people are like answering the door with shotguns and shit like that. Like I understand that,
Wow.
Wow.
but this is the job you chose. So you either have to deal with that shit or go home. And some people just quit. Like I can't deal with this. It's like, all right.
I would have had to deal with that shit, man. Fuck.
Just
Yeah,
bring your
people
own.
coming out with shotguns when you're trying to deliver something, that's too risky.
Yeah, man. Fuck.
Just bring your own. This is
Well, yeah,
easy.
there were some people that were
easy.
just scared. There were some people that were just scared, like no shotguns involved. They're just like, oh, this house looks really creepy. I don't want to deliver to this house. Like, well, that's what you're paid to do. Just go and leave it on that doorstep. Like, oh, there's no lights. And it's in the middle of nowhere. I was like, this is literally your job. It's literally what you're being paid for. You can't not deliver something because you're creeped out about some stupid house in the middle of the woods.
I just watched a horror movie last night. We can't do this delivery.
Yeah.
Just bring your own shotgun. That's all.
Just
Yeah,
like
carry a mace and
like
a
say,
pistol.
okay, you write up some technical report about this. Say your reason too. Well, it's just that Apollo is in retrograde right now, so when that happens, I get really, really moody. It makes my time of the month happen a little bit sooner.
Well, I did have one driver that literally got in an accident while I was on the phone call with them.
Holy
Yeah,
shit,
like-
that must have been scary.
Yeah, and, I was like, oh shit! I heard like a crash. I was like, oh, I just got in an accident. I'll call you later. I'm like, oh,
Holy fuck.
okay.
Wow.
I guess that's what happened. Well, I could tell that he was like super distracted and wasn't
Okay.
really like paying attention. I was like, because I can see, we could see like exactly where they're at, and I would use like Google Maps to like describe a place that they needed to go to. It's like, dude, you just passed by it, the big red house that was on your left. It's like, oh, I didn't really see it. Maybe I could go back. Well, it's like, okay, I don't know what's wrong with this guy's vision, but yeah, he got in an accident. I was like, oh shit.
Wow.
Yeah, we've had guys in multiple accidents, especially in the winter. Lots in the winter. Because the trucks are they're just filled with cable, right? So they slide all over the place. There's not a lot of weight to them and stuff. So
They're not
yeah.
like all-wheel drive. Your vans.
some of them are. Some of the older trucks though are just rear-wheel drive vans. So
That's the worst in winter.
yeah, it is. Like we have to put
Like-
sandbags in the back and shit, and yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because front wheel is better for winter, but all-wheel is the best.
Mm.
Rear is just terrible control in winter conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
we just talked about like workplace crazy shit for like 2 hours.
All of those stories were really entertaining.
They were.
Oh man, I could do a podcast on just cable stories. Or work stories,
Yeah.
I could, but I'd get in big trouble because it's Amazon. I would have to say, oh, I work for some non-blah, blah, blah company, but yeah, I don't want to say nothing. I
Yeah.
want to get the ire of Bezos on me.
Yeah, you don't want that.
The eye of Bezos. The
Yes.
all-seeing eye.
The all-seeing eye of Bezos is ever watchful.
Yeah, the
It's
Bezos
them.
is stepping down soon, so
Is he?
we'll see how things. Yeah, he's.
You're gonna get
retiring
a bunch
as
of
CEO.
customers calling in, and they're gonna be complaining that things are going bad.
Yeah,
because
I'm pretty sure like after he steps down, there's still gonna be people complaining about Bezos. It was like, oh, Bezos, he's liberal. He owns the Washington Post. I heard that he owns the Washington Post. So I'm canceling my Prime because I hate liberals.
Okay.
Like, okay, all right, I'll help you out with that. It's fine. No problem.
All right. Well, I think we've talked for long enough about all of those crazy and entertaining work stories, and also Harold and Kumar, of course. And thanks for talking, guys. This was fun as always, and thanks to those of you who watch this. We found this as entertaining and hilarious as I did, and look forward to the. I guess I was wanting to for the next movie chat talk about Memento, if that's cool with you guys. That Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Yeah, you guys want to do that in about a month, I guess. Cool. All right. Well, yeah. So thanks everyone again for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Click the like button. Click to get notified. Click the bell to get notified when I come out with new videos. And got that next movie chat coming out. And also working on a video about the Matrix in relation to Spinoza's philosophy and his idea of God. That's probably going to come out sometime next week. And got more book chats and movie chats and all kinds of fun stuff coming up too, including probably some more philosophical deep dives with Peter Salmon, I think, at some point. And check out my Patreon as well. And I put that in the description for the video like I always do. And like I always say, I love you all. Keep being the tiny beam of light that shines through the almost impenetrable darkness in the universe. And most importantly, always remember this: the funk cures all. And groove is in the heart. And Harold and Kumar is awesome. And so is weed. And there's some pretty fucking crazy things that happen when you're and entertaining things that happen when you're a cable guy or when you take customer complaints from Amazon. All right. Anything else you guys want to say there before we end it?
Oh, that's all. Thanks for having me. That was
problem,
fun.
man. Yeah, always fun to talk with you guys.
Yeah, for sure. And next week, me and Andrew are going to talk about the end of what you call them, Wizard's Ritual.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about Gone Girl.
On your channel on Woke Centrist. Check that out.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah. And yeah, that'll be fun. The most terrifying horror film of all time that's not technically a horror film, but it's more horrifying than any horror film.
Yeah, the ending is pretty horrifying. I'll say that.
Definitely. All right. You got anything else to say there too, Chris?
No.
No?
Yeah, look forward to the next one. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And I got a music video coming out soon. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That'll be cool.
Yeah, something I did just because I was bored during lockdown. So
cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, looking forward to that. All right. Well, thanks again, guys. And thanks again, everyone, for watching. And adios until next time.